Alrighty, welcome back to Over the Pond. You guys, I just want to say thank you so much for the reception on the first episode. I was not expecting that. I am genuinely so surprised and very appreciative of it. It's been really cool seeing all the comments and just everyone that's been excited. So thank you all very much. I really appreciate it. And welcome back. My name's John, or Obese to Beast, one of the co-hosts, and then the other one is over there.
Hello. Hello. Yeah, I was also, hello from Kenji as well. He's scared of something right now. I'm not too sure what. But I was not expecting all of the support pretty much. We so many nice comments. I was kind of not worried there'd be a few okay, you going to go? Okay, he's going to go. Everyone's saying bye in the comments.
He was like, you talked about me and now the vibes are off, dude. I'm out of here.
I wasn't shocked, but at the same time, I was surprised there literally wasn't a single negative comment. I thought there might be get on with it or something, but as far as I saw,
we are both yappers, so that's fair to think that.
That's good. That's good. You want to be a yapper, man. Isn't that what this whole thing's for?
It's true.
We're paid.
Be a weird podcast to be like, yeah, so Mr. Beast, right?
Yeah, Mr. Beast, he sucks.
He sucks. All right, next. 3-minute podcast.
Amberlynn Reid, she sucks. But there's a lot of updates to Mr. Beast, which maybe if we get time we can get into it. But we kind of have a whole thing planned today. But before we do that, we should speak about ourselves first. I feel.
Yeah.
How's your week been?
So it's been a mixed bag. Mm-hmm. It's been an interesting week. So I don't know if we mentioned this on the first episode, but I am moving I live in San Diego now. I'm going to be moving to Massachusetts, which for those of you that are in the UK that don't know much about the US, or I guess anywhere else, San Diego is on the West Coast and then Massachusetts is on the East Coast. It is literally about as far apart as you can get in the contiguous United States. That's a real word. My girlfriend, she was like, that's not a real word. You made that up. And I looked it up. It is a real word. So it's the 48 states that are together. So not Alaska and Hawaii, right? And so I am moving, and the plan was, and now you're going to understand what's going on, was that I was going to drive my car and pack it full of my PC and stuff and ship some things from here to there over a week, right? Uh-huh. And I had been looking forward to it to an extent, but also dreading it because I'm not someone that enjoys driving. Some people love it, and that idea is that's oh my God, I would love doing that. Not really how I felt about that, to be completely honest. And so that was the plan. And then recently, my check engine light on my car has been going off. Right, this has been happening for a month, and I'd been taking into my local mechanic that lives right down the or that works right down the road, and we had we thought it was a spark plug. We thought it was a fuel injector, all these things that aren't very expensive. It would be a couple $100 when I take it in, and it would be fine for a few days, and then it would come back on, right? So after I did this 3 times, he was like, I think you just take it into Ford because they'll be able to diagnose what the problem is a lot better than clearly I can't figure it out. And the thing is my car, it's not like it was running weird or I was like, oh my God, this thing is about to break down. It was it just seems like the check engine light comes on for so many random things. You could not screw in your gas cap tight enough and it'll come on, right? There's a comedian that was like, the check engine light is the most useless light because it's might as well just be dude, something's wrong. I don't know what it is, but something, man. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to bring it in and it'll probably be a few $100, maybe $1,000. I was hoping not that much. And I was like, but I'll finally be able to get it figured out. And then bam, I would have done my due diligence to get ready for this drive.
Yeah.
I take it in there.
You don't want to not crash. Dude, you don't want to break down on the way there.
Yeah, dude, that's terrifying, man. The amount of anxiety I had about it, right? Yeah. And so the car had been in there for 4 days. They finally gave me a call, which sucked because I didn't have a freaking car. I was stuck here. And they let me know that basically the fuel injector, basically it was going to be $6,000 to fix it.
Holy.
Right? Yeah. And so what exactly it was is I wrote it down in my notes. So it is a failed head gasket, and that is leaking coolant into a cylinder, which is, I guess, what is causing the check engine light to come on. And so this is kind of boring, but like basically I heard that and I was like, okay, well that's really expensive. Let me call my mechanic guy and tell him what it was. Cause he was like, let them figure it out and then call me if the price is crazy. And and then I called him and he was like, wow, that's really expensive. He had me call a place that only works on this stuff. Like that's all they do. And they were like, yeah, that's just that model of car, that year, that's just what happens. And the reason that it's so expensive is because it's all technical jargon that I don't really fully understand. But they were like, basically, the only way to fix it is to replace it. And that's why it's so expensive. It's like there's nothing you can really do about it. And then he even said, and then they'll probably fix that little thing. And then they will realize that this needs to be fixed. The engine needs to be replaced. And that's in $7,500. So basically, the car is totaled. So,
oh my God, I'm sorry to hear, man.
I'm not going to be taking it with me, and so I'm going to fly, which I am glad that I don't have to drive across the country personally, but it has shifted all of my plans. But now I haven't actually announced this anywhere. This is the first place I'm announcing this.
Oh, wow.
I have an official date of when I'm moving, which will be the 8th of December.
Oh,
so
that's
coming
amazing.
up soon.
Well,
Yeah,
so, actually, damn, it's the 26th. Holy
it's in
shit,
like
that's
less than
soon.
2 weeks.
Oh,
Yeah,
are you
so
nervous?
I am, man. It'll be my first time living with a significant other. And first time like not living on my own because I technically live on my own now and I have in the past, but like it'll be my first time living in a place where like the whole place is shared and we all basically together own it. Like I've always kind of like here I live with my brother and his sister-in-law and their kids, and so I kind of treat it as like I rent a room and I try and stay out of the way as much as I can. Not that they make me feel any type of way, but it's just for me it's just easier that way. But when I move, it'll be our space. Yeah. And so I am looking forward to it. I'm going to have an office that'll be separate from my bedroom, which I'm looking forward to. So I don't have to like, I can separate those two things, right?
As someone with that right now, it's such a game changer. Cause like,
dude.
you don't want to be working in your bed, doing everything in your bedroom sort of thing. Cause I did that for years and it's like, it's fine. But it's not like a physical space thing. It's like an emotional tax sort of thing. Because everything you do is in this space, and you associate work with like, I can't really play games on my computer because it's like that's in my office, and it's like I'm already just kind of like associating it with work and like writing and recording and stuff. So it's like having like it in a separate area is like so much beneficial. And like when you get that, you're gonna like it's gonna be like game changing.
Yeah, I'm excited because I've had an office apart from my bedroom before for a while, but it was always like at a different place and I had to drive there, and it would just be it would make things a lot harder. So now it'll be in the house but in a separate room, which I'm looking forward to. I already have plans of like things that I want to do. I really want to get like because I play drums, and so you know that, but like I want to get like a really nice electronic drum set. And I'm going to have to build like a little platform for it because of the vibrations. But I want to like on stream play like do like covers of songs. And so like I have like awesome ideas that I want to do, and I have like things that I want to do. So I'm excited, but it's definitely like it's going to be a big change for me because I've always lived where the sun is always shining all year. Like it's always been like that here. And so, I love San Diego. It's, I'm wearing a San Diego hat. Like it's definitely a huge part of who I am as a person. But I am really looking forward to obviously being with my girlfriend because we've been long distance for way too long, and being able, but then also like seasons and like fall in the New England is where I'm going is so beautiful, man. And so I'm looking forward to that. It'll be a big change for me, but I'm excited. And but yeah, I was like kind of looking forward to that trip because I was gonna like vlog it all and had already kind of talked about it on my channel, and now it's like not happening. But it is what it is. And so I don't know what I'm gonna do with the car. I'm either gonna sell it for pretty cheap because with the expenses that are needed to fix it, I can't really sell it for much. And I'm not gonna lie to people and be like, yeah, it's fine, because honestly the check engine light isn't on anymore because it goes on and off. But
if they discover this podcast, man, they buy that car.
So I'm not gonna do that. So I was thinking like the only way I would sell it is like sell it to a dealership that knows about the problems and they can fix it, and resell it. Or I might just keep it in the family and like let my mom drive it, and just like leave it here because the amount that I would get for it is pretty low. And, it's a sentimental vehicle, I got it from when I was on the Ellen show. Like I got it gifted. It's like, it's a big part of who I am as a person. Yeah. So it's like, it's a big part of me, and I would feel really weird selling it for like $1,000 just so I could like have a little extra cash, which, money is money, and I would, it's always helpful, but Yeah, there's a lot of things that are going on in my head, but that's been my week. Not to take over the entire podcast.
Dude, that's a lot. And we'll go just follow up on that $1,000 thing. Is that's something I've thought about in the past of where you have something sentimental and you know that you could sell it for like a decent amount, not decent, but like an amount of money. But it's like then you think to yourself, well, you could then get that same amount of money. Not quickly, but like, you know, you're gonna get that money in the future from something else, from like work or something else, and it's like sometimes that money isn't worth like the sentimental value being thrown away. I mean, if you get a good price for it though, then that's fine.
I mean, like, if someone wanted to offer like $10,000 for it, that's different. But like, you know, with the issues that it has, like I think that I would probably bring it into a dealership and. I would love to be able to be like, I'll just not tell them and they won't figure it out. But my conscience, I don't think I could do that. And I'm assuming if I told them what is the issue and they know how much it's going to cost to fix, they're going to offer me like peanuts, man. Like it's not going to be worth it. And so I don't know. These are all things I haven't made a decision yet. These are all things that I'm still currently grappling with, right? So, but that's been my week. What about you?
My week's been pretty good, to be honest. I mean, I haven't had any cars break down. No reselling and sentimental items in my book list as far as it goes. But I've just been working quite a lot. I was busy at the weekend. I saw Wicked, which was pretty cool.
Oh dude.
Yeah, dude, I really like that movie. I was surprised. I've seen Wicked in the theater before, and I really liked it, and just didn't expect the movie to be good because adapting.
So you saw it like the musical version
theater? No, I saw the musical version in 2020, and I saw the actual movie this weekend. And it's just like. It's like you feel like adapting something from like a theater production into like an actual movie. It's gonna be really difficult to do, especially considering the whole musical is 2 hours and 30 minutes long, and the movie is 2 hours and 30 minutes long, but it's part one of the first section of the musical. So it's like when you see that, you're like, oh my God, this is going to be terrible. They're going to be dragging it out. It's going to become like, you know, like The Hobbit of where they like make 3 films from one book. Yeah. But it was like really, really good. Like, like basically everything start to finish. I was like, wow.
I've heard good things.
Yeah. I was like shocked at how good it was. Then I also went back to the gym last week, which has been fun.
Let's go.
Yeah. I've been mainly focusing on cardio, which is kind of like sacrilege, I know. But I've been because I've been playing. Hey, I have been doing weights. Don't worry. But it's because I've been doing like more football recently, and like, but sometimes I like finish like a match, and I'll be like, Jesus Christ, and I need to actually get on a treadmill, man. This ain't good. But to be fair, when it comes to like cardio and like lasting long in like a football match where I'm like running constantly, I always find it's like my diet than anything else. It's always like what I've ate that day is so much more important than if I've gone running for like a week straight. Like if I eat clean on the day and the day before, like I'm so much better just in terms of like running and like having a lot of energy. But aside from that, just been working pretty much. Got a video done today, and been a pretty chill week, to be honest. I have also been playing a new game, which was fun.
What have you been playing?
It's like a remake of a really old game. It's called Dragon Quest III HD 2D. Yeah. I've been enjoying it. It's like it's not like the best thing of all time, but it's like really cute and like charming, and it's like kind of chill to play. It has like a grindy aspect to it in the sense of like they kind of expect you to like level up your characters so you can go through all the dungeons and stuff. But I've just like I've done again more sacrilege. I was like watching someone speak about it, and they were like, "Yeah, the game's too grindy, and when you put it on easy mode, it's so much more enjoyable."
I love easy mode, baby. Yeah, let's go,
dude. I put that shit on easy mode, and it was so much more enjoyable because I was like, I'm not even like that bothered about the combat. It's kind of like outdated RPG. My voice went there. RPG turn-based combat, and I was like, I don't really care for
like
that.
Similar to like Baldur's Gate kind of thing, or
yeah, in a way. Whereas Baldur's Gate is like so much more like detailed. Whereas this is very much like click your spell goes, damage them, and it's done.
Like the old Final Fantasy kind of stuff.
Yeah, dude, exactly. I mean, it's made by Square Enix, so it's the exact same thing as the old Final Fantasies. But it's really charming and fun. And pretty much other than that, that's been my week, man.
The last game I've been playing, because I have we talked about it, I have ADHD, so I get hyper focused on things. So right now it's drums. Like that's all. Like my brain, it's all I'm thinking about. Drumming.
Oh,
drumming.
okay.
And so I haven't really been playing many games. So the last game that I was playing was actually, I downloaded it for the flight. I was playing Dredge. Have you heard about that game?
Yeah, I've heard of Dredge.
Yeah,
never played it, never seen it, but I've heard of it.
It's an interesting game. It's definitely like, I feel like if I were to try to explain it, it does not sound fun because it's a lot of it's like inventory management is like a lot of the game, but it's so much more than that. There's like, I don't know. It was fun though. I played it on my flight because a lot of times, did I talk about this in the last episode?
You did, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I only have so many stories, man. But, yeah, so I'll probably, like, I had been planning, like, I'll probably just not play it until the next flight until I leave, and then I'll just play it on the flight, and then because like then I can just like I can really immerse myself, and it's not like there's like so much stuff to do because I've only played it twice, you know. So
yeah, I totally get that. I wish I had more time to play games. Like as a kid, it's every day. I'm just playing Fable 2, RuneScape, Pokemon, but and I still play those games, but it's like. For like max an hour a day sometimes. So on some days it's like, oh, I have time. But like when you get like in relationships, you're busy. Like, you know what I mean? Like I swear when you get above like 25, shit is just like busy for no reason.
Mm-hmm. And I think like for me, man, like I talk about this a lot with my girlfriend. My girlfriend's great, man. She's very, very supportive, and I am very, very lucky. But we talk about it a lot. Like the struggle I have with gaming is that, so I'm older than you, right? I'm 32. I just turned 32. Man. And I struggle a lot with guilt when I game. And so big reason why I was streaming and playing games on stream was because for me, I was like, well, I'm technically working and gaming. And so it was like, it felt a lot better. And I was able to mitigate some of that guilt that I had playing the games. But I think the reason that drumming, getting back into it, because I grew up playing drums. Like I started drumming when I was in high school in like 10th grade, and I played for like really solidly for like 6 or 7 years. Like it was like my entire identity, right? But then I kind of stopped, and I hadn't played for a while, and I've gotten fully back into it, like completely, right?
That's awesome.
And it is for me. It's like getting like so. Again, ADHD, hyperfixation has been something that I have dealt with my entire life. I didn't realize until I was older what that was. Yeah. I was diagnosed with ADD when I was like 6 or something. I took Ritalin for like a year. I hated it. But I've realized hyperfixation.
Sorry to interject there. Are you on any like, medications now? Because I was on medication for like 6 months, and I still have issues with my blood pressure now. And like I was taking it in 2022, and like... it helped to a bit, but at the same time, it also just was like kind of like ruining my mental sort of state in a way. I was like just kind of all over the place in ways that weren't like bad, but in the sense of like, I don't know, it almost felt like I was constantly feeling like I need to do everything. It was weird. I didn't get that feeling of like everyone like, because I know some people take ADHD medication and it's like, oh, I feel my mind is clear. I didn't really get that. And that was kind of a shame. And I know people can say like, oh, you can try different medications and stuff, but I actually don't like, I don't want to have like more power to anyone who's listening to this that uses ADHD medication or any form of medication. But I feel more mentally sane, like controlling my ADHD by certain ways that aren't medication, and like you know, journaling or like planning my days out. Because when I notice when I like, plan my day, it's so much easier to manage. And stuff like that, rather than taking medication, that just works better for me. Yeah. And what about yourself? Was it like a bit?
Yeah, I took it for like a year, maybe a little bit less, and it was. My mom even said this because I was in like, I don't know, 4th grade maybe or something like that. Like I was really young.
Oh,
and
okay.
she even said that like it turned me into a zombie and like completely changed my entire like just who I was as a kid. Yeah. And I think that, so I only took it for a year and then I got off. That has painted my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
and probably not fair. And then if I'm being 100% honest, for a very long time, because I am a YouTuber, I didn't have health insurance. So I was like, I can't get it, because shout out America, let's go, freaking best country, brother. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother. I didn't have health insurance, so I didn't have the option. Thank God I do now. Shout out to my business partner Rachel for helping me with that.
There you go, Rachel.
But so now I definitely, like, I'm not fully against it. And there's been, times when I'm struggling a lot more. And I've thought, like, I think that might be helpful. But right now I'm doing well, which is surprising with everything going on. But I think, like, I'm definitely not against it. But I also would be lying if I didn't say I'm not scared of it. Like, any sort of drug scares me, or medication, whatever you want to call it, because I come my background, like, we don't have to go super into this. I've talked about it before, but, like, I was taken away from my mom when I was a kid because she was a drug addict, and then we weren't with her for a few years, or like a year, and then we were put back with her. So, like, I've always been I just get really weird about that stuff. It just kind of, especially now with the opiate epidemic, and, like, I know it's not opiate, but, like, I think some of them might be, but, like, people just get addicted to stuff and then they can't get that anymore, and then they're doing other things, and it just freaks me out, man. And so
even with medications, even outside of dealing with mental health stuff, I like, even things like Ozempic, there's, like, a part of me that sees that, and I know it has helped a lot of people, but I'm also like, it's scary because, like, you don't, obviously we don't know, because it's only recently started to be used more for weight loss and stuff like that. And I see that, and I'm thinking to myself, like, in 10 years time, if there's, like, a shortage in Ozempic or something like that, because so many people have got onto it, I'm, like, in a space of, like, seeing that, and I'm like, what if people aren't necessarily hooked on it? Because I'm not sure you can get addicted to it, but, like, what if people are super reliant on that? And that reliance scares me in any sense. And if I was in a bad mental state and I was reliant on my ADHD medication, I would be constantly in fear that it would, one day I may not have that medication because of costs or because of lack of availability. And ADHD medication, I don't know about you in America, but in the UK, it's expensive. I know we have free healthcare, but we still have to pay for our prescriptions. And ADHD medication is, like, basically $200 a month here, and that's how much we are paying for it, which is quite a lot. When you, especially, like, if you're not in a good financial position. Oh yeah. So, like, and there's also tons of shortages constantly. I'm not really sure why. So the idea of being reliant on that, to me, and other medication, just kind of scares me.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely something that I think about, especially, the Ozempic stuff. We can definitely get into that. I mean, I think that today we have quite the big topic that I definitely want to get into. So I don't want to take too much time away from that. But that, I mean, I'm curious if anyone wants us to talk about that. I just don't know how interested people will be.
What, Ozempic?
I
think there's, like, quite a lot. Like, I saw a tweet with, like, 140,000 likes earlier, and it was, like, word for word, like, am I the only fat bitch still around? And it was, like, quoting a tweet where someone, like, like a well-known, like, body positive person had lost all their weight because of Ozempic, or at least they were on Ozempic, not necessarily all the reasons, but, like, that is, like, a genuine trend right now of, like, so many people who we've seen for, like, our whole lives in a certain way are now, like, skinny, and it's like,
dude, it's
whoa,
crazy,
what is going on? And there's also a part of me which is like, good for you, but at the same time, I lost, like, all my weight, like, only 3 years ago, and I'm like, could have waited 3 years. But no, I'm joking. I would have much preferred. I'm glad that I lost weight in the non, like, medicated way. I don't know what the correct scientific term is. I would still encourage people, from my own experience, to be like, just try to focus on what you're making in the kitchen. Focus on, walking more and stuff like that. I think that, and then, if it fails, maybe if you can't get Ozempic, that's up to you. That's not my call.
Yeah. It's this is such a loaded topic, and I mean, obviously, I'm sure you've seen. I've talked about it a lot on my channel, and the way that I feel about it is. And this is with any sort of, like, getting help for weight loss, or some people hate when I say that because they're like, you did it. You say that you did it naturally, and that's, making me feel like I did it. I'm cheating, and it's this whole thing. But, like, the way I feel is that you should explore every option before you take the next step. So, like, with the GLP-1 medications, which is what Ozempic is. that's like another step up from just trying to do it with, just trying to manage the calories that you're eating and the exercise that you're doing, yada, yada, yada. And then, there's getting weight loss surgery, and there's these different steps, right? There's some surgeries that are a lot more invasive than others, right? These are all steps that I see that it's like, you shouldn't take that next step until you are confident that you've done everything on the current step that you're at. That's the way that I feel about it. And there's a lot of nuance that goes into it. And I, again, like, dude, I could talk about it forever. And I have on my channel. So,
It comes into what we were speaking about just now of medication. For me, my perspective, and some people may disagree with my perspective when it comes to medication to treating your weight, treating your mental health status, like, to me, it's always a last resort. If I've tried everything, and in fairness, I do think in the UK at least, it's always a doctor's last resort as well. For the most part, I know people like to speak about how it's so easy to get medication, and that's a bad thing. Sorry, Kenji's just like rolling around. He's like rolling me. Stop, go away. He's like giving me a death stare right now. But I know like a lot of doctors do have it as their last resort, and for me personally, I think that if you have gone through every single step to try and lose weight, and Ozempic is your last thing, then I'm not gonna like sit there and be like, you've cheated and stuff like that. Like, I can respect that you've tried everything, really. And honestly, like, yeah, that's completely your call. It's your body. But I also think that in some aspects, like playing devil's advocate with Ozempic, I think that it can actually help in the sense of, when people try to lose weight, it very much opens a lot of conversations and doors into like researching what's in your food, calorie counting, analyzing your carbohydrates, the amount of protein you get in your food. And I think these things are healthy things to know about. But a lot of people, including myself, go down the pathway of they almost obsess about, have I got my protein in? Have I got a certain like level of carbohydrates in that day and stuff like that? And that can be damaging on the aspect of trying to do it in the natural way. And I think Ozempic has, in a way, possibly helped people lose weight in a healthier way in terms of their mental health. It is literally just a case of they are no longer desiring so much amount of food than they were eating before taking Ozempic. So I can also understand that argument that some people, I imagine, will make in our comment section.
Yeah, it's the whole food noise thing, right? It like helps them not constantly be thinking about food, which I think, is the overall goal with like losing weight, right? And because at the end of the day, it's like about getting healthy. This is what I always say, like if I'm working with a client or whatever, it's like, the focus for me, if I'm talking to someone about this, is not, I want to get you to lose weight as much weight as possible. It's like, I want you to be healthy. And for a lot of people that I work with, obviously losing weight will be a byproduct of that. But if you are constantly thinking about food 24/7, I don't think that that's very healthy, right? So it's about trying to mitigate that and work on that as much as possible. And for plenty of people, GLP-1 medications, the Ozempics and things like that, that can be something that really helps them in the in that journey. And it's just like, again, there's just a lot that goes into it, because for the most part, it's kind of like a chronic thing. So if you are going to take it, you kind of a lot of the studies suggest that you kind of have to stay on it to experience the benefits. So it's like once you get off of it, a lot of people really struggle with keeping the weight off. And so those are all decisions you have to make and be very aware of before you go down that road, right? So
yeah, absolutely. To be fair, I didn't think about that, like, because I guess like being on Ozempic obviously would be great because you're no longer like as hungry as you were before. And something that I've always suffered with my whole life, and I still suffer with now, is I like pretty much am addicted to food. Like, I am always thinking about food for the most part, unless I'm distracted. Like if I go like, and that's my problem with being a YouTuber. And I think my like food addiction is shown. Sorry, my dog is like crying right now. Can I just like put him? I think he wants to leave. I'm just gonna put him out okay. And then come on. I don't know what was upsetting him. So as when I became a YouTuber, it put me in a space of I no longer have the distraction of having like a boss or someone telling me what to do or having to go to things. It's just I can be in my room all day, make my video, go to bed, then repeat the next day. So it's like that means that there is more time to think about food, and I think that did very much contribute to me gaining a lot of weight because there was less distraction from the the noise of food, and that led to me getting a lot of weight. So the idea of being on Ozempic and then that suddenly goes, but then you're thinking to yourself, oh, I need this medication because if I go off the medication, then it's just going to revert back to that, and I'm going to be just as hungry as before. That is a pretty scary prospect. And to be fair, you know way more than I do. I personally don't know enough about Ozempic to really comment further than that, but that does sound quite scary.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, there are plenty of people that have been able to lose weight and then get off Ozempic and keep it off. It's not, I'm not saying that it's impossible. It's just like the studies have shown the majority of people really struggle once they're no longer on it. So,
yeah, absolutely. So there is one thing I want to, because I know everyone's going to be like, can you guys just speak about Amberlynn Reid? There's one thing I just quickly want to have. I've just got like one topic written down. Do you know who Chris Chan is?
I've heard that. I've heard that name, and I think I've seen like a few videos about them, but I haven't like done the deep dive because I know that their lore is even more than Amberlynn, because like they're like one of the original lolcows, right?
The original.
Okay,
the lolcow. Like it's like undisputed. Like if there was like. In football, you have like Messi and Ronaldo, like the top footballers of all time. Like Chris Chan would be Messi if it came to being local. It's like, yeah. So you don't know much about it, so this won't impact you whatsoever. But Chris Chan recently announced that they are having a child, and I was like, that. If you're watching this right now and you're in a lonely spot, you're not in a relationship, I feel like you should feel bad because even Chris Chan is finding love in the world. And I read it and I was like, this is got to be a joke, but. Apparently, I think they were in jail for a bit and they got out of jail, or at least there was something involving some level of jail sentence. And now they've got a girlfriend from Europe and they're having a baby. And I just saw it and was like, this is hope. I feel like this is hope for a lot of people. So this is going to be
for everyone, man.
Yeah, this is my message to the Good Over the Pond viewers, episode 2. Just know that even Chris Chan found someone. So I'm sure you can too. But but with that, let's get into Amberlynn Reid, because I would say that you are like the expert. You're like
no. I want to put this out there.
Out of us,
maybe. I was talking to Rachel about this again, my business partner, and I was like, the thing with Amberlynn, right, is that, and it's probably similar with Chris Chan, right? It's like there are people that know every single detail. Yeah. And I don't know that. I'm not that deep, but I know more about this person than I should, for sure. Yeah. Like, because at this point, she's my co-host on my videos.
Because of the
amount of videos I've made, it's but there are like dozens of channels that literally, for the most part, exist only because of Amberlynn, to talk about Amberlynn.
And I've seen these channels and they do well. Like they do a video like every 2 days.
It's just crazy, man. Because like Amberlynn at this point, I know we're kind of skimming ahead, but like she'll upload a video and it'll, it's not like it does terrible. It'll do like 40,000-ish views, which, again, no hate, that's fine. But then the reactions will get twice as many.
Yeah.
It's
the
crazy,
same.
man.
The same for me. I think my version of what you have with Amberlynn is Onision. I have covered Onision for years. I've done a big iceberg. I've done an iceberg on Amberlynn, to be fair. But I think the thing people don't realize is like you can cover like all of those topics, but there is still always going to be more. And
this podcast could literally exist to cover Amberlynn. Like that's all we could do, and it would be. There'd be enough content to do that.
Yeah. There would be definitely enough content. I'm sure we will speak about Amberlynn quite a lot because I'm working on I've started doing my research into Amberlynn at the recent stuff with Amberlynn Reid because obviously the big thing everyone likes to talk about with Amberlynn is she is like her weight loss journey and stuff like that. But this all recently seems to be like a bit different to that. Obviously, there are still a lot of like elements of weight gain and weight loss in this conversation, but it very much seems a bit different. Do you want to kind of like explain to the viewers who may not know what's been going on?
Yeah. Do you want me to do a little like super quick rundown of who Amberlynn is? I mean, or do you think everyone?
I think everyone listening probably has it.
All right, cool. So I don't have to go into all of that. But basically, what has happened recently and what's been like the topic of discussion for the past, I would say, few months has been so a very common thing that Amberlynn does is she gets into new relationships, again, there's someone for everyone, right? And something that it's very, very, very common is Amberlynn will get into a new relationship and then very quickly either move in with this person or have this person move in with her, right? So it's like, it's part of the cycle, right?
She's a lover, man.
She is a lover, 100%, right? Shout out to Amberlynn, And so very, very common. And so that has happened recently. Not that abnormal. But the reason that people are concerned and also just, making videos because it does well, is that Amberlynn's current partner has... I want to say allegedly, people get annoyed when I say that because there's so much evidence, but allegedly is a feeder. Okay, if you don't know what that is someone that intentionally will be in relationships normally with overweight individuals. Almost always that's who it's with, but obviously I'm sure there's times when the person's not overweight yet, they get overweight in the relationship. But basically, when someone is a feeder, they will intentionally get in a relationship with a bigger person and then just feed them, do everything for them, and let them get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so one of the issues is that people had found out that this person who Amberlynn calls Tommy, I call Tommy just because it seems that that's what they want to be called. I don't know. I feel weird. Like if that's what they want to be called, I don't want to call them by another name. But Tommy is another woman. Amberlynn is lesbian, so that she's always with women, right? Yeah. And so, but this person, Tommy, is also, I think, is a lesbian from all the relationships I've seen in the past. And their most recent relationship before Amberlynn ended with their partner passing away.
Oh, and wow.
Their partner was also a very large individual. And so
was it in relation? Was the death in relation? Or was it not really fully?
I mean, it's hard to know. I mean, they were a very large individual. They passed away, I think, from complications of being large, right? So they're like, people are very basically kind of concerned for Amberlynn, and then there's a lot more into it, which we have a whole document that has a bunch of stuff on it.
Our document is amazing. Shout out to Louisa, by the way, who did the research.
My God, when you sent this, I was like, oh my God, dude.
Yeah, like basically we've got in front of us right now like a chapter of like every single update of this situation. So like we're gonna go into fair detail here.
So that's kind of the structure of what's been going on, and there has just been thing that has been happening, but that's kind of the underlying structure of what the issue is, and then there's more stuff on top of it, which we can get into for sure.
Before we actually get into like the gist of everything that's been going on through like the timeline and everything, what's your personal opinion? Do you think, because I've said to you before off camera, I've said that I think Amberlynn Reid is somebody that deserves valid criticism, but I definitely think that, like just a lot of other locals out there, it's gotten to the point of where she will now be criticized for breathing. Again, not an outright defense of everything she's ever done, but I personally see some of the things that I remember doing my iceberg video, and I remember some of the parts of the iceberg, and it had me thinking, I even said in the video, I was like, this doesn't seem like anything. I still went through it because, it's a big talking point, Amberlynn speaking about it and stuff like that. But sometimes I see things and I'm like, this isn't that much. But this does seem... honestly, quite worrying if she is with somebody who is seemingly, allegedly a feeder, and they have a history of a partner who was, a big size passing away.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I kind of feel the same exact way. For the most part, in the past, I have strayed away from really talking about the whole drama with the partners, just because I was like, why am I talking about this? My channel name is Obese to Beast. I got into talking about Amberlynn Reid because, like the way that we even started talking was I saw this person that was trying to lose weight, that it seemed like they kept failing. And so I reached out to offer help. That's how we started communicating. And then that broke down. But
wait, hold up. You've spoken to Amberlynn?
Oh yeah. Yeah, dude, I tried to help.
Bro, how did I not know this? It's like
Yeah,
that's some big new law. What?
Yeah, that's how we got
wow.
connected, was because, and this is, I think, with Amberlynn and how people get sucked into this whole thing, is they see someone that is very large, that is trying to lose weight, and they're like, why are people being so mean? I don't get it, right? And that's how I felt. I was like, what is this criticism? Is so ridiculous. Like, it's just someone that's struggling to lose weight. We all struggle to lose weight. And I feel like that's what happened to me. And then you start to see the cycle, which is what I was talking about, where it's just like, it feels like, it's one thing if someone just, tries to lose weight and fails, but with Amberlynn, there's so much more to it of like, oh, I said I was going to do this, and then she will do it, but then not do it, and then hide it, and then people will find out, and then she'll blame her audience. There's just so much that goes into it.
Yeah.
But basically, that's how I got connected. And then, obviously I didn't help with the weight loss. And that's when I started, getting deeper, and I started, doing the kind of commentary videos on it. But yeah, I feel very similar to you, where for the most part, I think that there's a lot of valid criticism, and that's fair enough. A lot of times with like the relationship stuff, I would always kind of stray away, but this is different. It does feel different because of what we have seen in the past, and like some of the things that have come up, which we can get into, that was shown that this person was being a feeder, as far as like being on sites, having photos that were basically like kind of like OnlyFans-ish type of things, and like those things were out there with this person that did pass away while being in a relationship. You know what I mean? So it was like this is genuinely something that is scary, because with Amberlynn, she is, like you said, she is a lover, and she fully goes into these relationships completely, right? And it's like, there's, which we'll get into with the whole moving thing, but she is already with this person, and there has been a lot of stuff that has happened, and it's a lot of people are like worried. So. Yeah,
because I mean, the things Amberlynn does for love, like she will go to she'll go to a big extent to show her love. I mean, even so, on the first development that we've got written down here, it says July the 8th, Amberlynn posts a vlog titled "Meeting My Girlfriend in Person, Torrid Tryon Hall, 4th of July." And in this video, she reveals that she had a new girlfriend in a long distance relationship. You guys have got something in common there. Not the new part, but the long distance part. Explaining that she knows.
Why do you think she's my co-host, man? Come on.
When's she gonna come on the podcast?
I know, dude. I would honestly love that, but I don't think that'll ever happen.
It would be awesome, but at the same time, I feel like we would get so much hate, because I feel like we'd be nice. I feel like we'd be too nice, and everyone would be like, "How dare you guys for not insulting this?"
No, you're probably right.
So it goes on to say that basically after a couple days, she knew that they had a strong connection, and when you know, you know. And she says she usually sees red flags in relationships and makes excuses for them, but she just hadn't seen a red flag in this one. And immediately it's like, obviously this, again, at this point, this isn't something I would really care about or talk about, but now we know the full context of everything. It's like, you can't learn someone's red flags in 2 days. You just can't. There's probably things about some friends that I have that I still don't know to this day. Like sometimes you can have a friend that turns out to be a bad person. And I'm not saying this individual is going to turn out to be a terrible person, but I just think that when you're a grown adult, you should approach relationships a bit more cautiously. And I think when I see stuff like this, especially with a content creator, I think it's a very algorithm brained thing. I think Amberlynn is someone that thinks that she has to post everything so her audience knows. And I think at the same time, based on what I've seen in my coverage of Amberlynn over the years, Amberlynn does play into rage bait from what I've seen. I think,
yes.
Yes. And I think she knows by saying things like this, obviously, it's going to get the Reddit going. It's going to get people on the forums going. Everyone's going to be talking about it.
Yeah, man. It's with Amberlynn, like, I think she has posted so much of her life online that I think, like, at this point, I don't think she really knows how to function without doing that, without like vlogging and trying her best to monetize every situation, right? And it's like, I think that I can understand her being frustrated with people being so invested in her relationship, but at the same time, she wants that. Like she wants people to care. If people don't care, They're not watching the videos. Like, that's just how it is, and that's how she makes a living. Like, and so it's like, it's a double-edged sword, man.
And it is quite sad because I definitely think, I've also spoke about the fact that I think it promotes a style of content of where it encourages people to almost lolcow themselves because people can see, oh, if I be ridiculous on the internet, it's going to get me a lot of views and get spoken about. And I think there's been so many cases now of people deliberately playing into that style just so they get spoken about and so money comes in, because all of these videos are most likely monetized, and she probably gets a fair amount of money for these videos, considering the amount she uploads and the length of her videos are typically quite long from what I've seen.
Yeah. It all feels calculated, you know?
Yeah. And then on July 21st, the relationship, it starts to get, get a bit more serious. She says that she met her long-distance girlfriend for the first time, and an hour before meeting, so I'm just reading some notes here to the audience listening right now. She decides to answer some questions. They started talking about a month prior. Tommy, is that the name of the girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Tommy has seen her body, and she knew about her size. They FaceTime a lot. Tommy bought her ticket herself, and Amberlynn didn't have to pay anything. So sounds lovely. Sounds absolutely fine. And then they actually met, and then she basically says that Tommy is absolutely perfect and that Amberlynn thinks that her life is changing and it's going to change even more. Amberlynn then starts crying, saying, you meet so many people in your lifetime, you think people are great, and then you finally meet that one person and it changes your whole outlook on life and people and love.
And so, again, our girl is a lover, you know?
She is a lover.
But it's like, we have heard, it's the story we've heard, right? And so it's like, you know, what is that saying? The boy who cried wolf. You know, at this point, people just don't believe it because they've heard it so many times with so many other relationships Amberlynn's been in. And a lot of times they end not great, which is a whole... especially one relationship from very early when Amberlynn was making videos ended very, very poorly. And that is a big reason why people have very valid reasons why they're not fans of her. We don't really have to get into that. I'm sure most people kind of know what I'm talking about. But so it's just, again, it's like we've heard this a million times, and it is it's like, you know, it's moving. It feels like as time goes on, it's just moving faster and faster and faster, right? So since I've been talking about Amberlynn, like this relationship, from what I can remember, feels like the fastest from relationship starting to where we're at now, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, as we said, it's mainly, in my opinion, her just, you know, playing up to the camera. She needed to post a video that day, and she needed people to talk about something, because maybe it is interesting because Amberlynn does go through points of where I see an occasional tweet or something be like, oh, Amberlynn Reid's finally losing weight. And it's like a screenshot of her latest video where she's like, I've lost 20 pounds doing this new diet. And it's like, God, you can tell when people don't know about Amberlynn Reid, because you know that it's the Amberlynn Reid cycle. I think I used that phrase 5 years ago when I first spoke about Amberlynn Reid. That's how long this thing has been going on for. And it's not just a weight thing. It's also an emotional thing. She goes through these cycles, and it's like, it's almost fascinating to watch. I said to a friend the other day, I was like, when are they going to start making Netflix documentaries about lolcows? Because they haven't done it yet. There's like so much content. You could have 50 seasons about Amberlynn, Christian, whoever.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that I would be curious how many normal people would care.
Oh yeah, true.
Because I don't know.
I think if you start it off with like, I mean, to be fair though, like
if you market it well, yeah.
There's a Christian documentary on YouTube which has like 90 episodes or something, and it's like only half.
I've seen like a couple. I think I watched a couple, and I was like, I'm not. Dude, there's too many. I just can't. I can't.
Dude, this is when I knew I was at like a low point in my life. I watched like 26 episodes in like a week, and it was like I'd be walking with my AirPods in, and I'd be listening to it, and it got. And I remember, dude. I remember the moment of where I just stopped. It was like Christian was like singing, like some trolls were making him sing, and I stopped dead where I was stood when I was walking Kenji, and I was like, what am I listening to? This isn't doing anything. I was like, this is like, this isn't helping me in any way. This is like, I am absorbing like actual diarrhea into my ears. Like, no offense to like the guy that made it. Like
So what I am thinking is that there are people that are listening to this podcast thinking, what am I doing?
Yeah, like the exact same thing. And honestly, they'd be fucking right. They would be right.
Get out while you can. Get out while you can.
Run right now. Do something. No, but like I think with like lolcows, there is like a moment of where you're like, oh my god, what am I doing? And I sometimes get that in my coverage where I'm like, there is a reason that I'm speaking about this, but there is also a side of my brain where it's like, you were meant to be a teacher. You were meant to be like a computer scientist or something on those lines. So I remember just like I paused it and I was like, I can't, and I never went back to it. And no offense to the guy that made the documentary, it was incredibly well researched. He's got a lot more patience than I do. It was more listening to the actual person, Christian, speak and sing for the 500th time. I was like, I felt like I was having a brain aneurysm, and sometimes I get that with Amberlynn Reid. So like, I've covered quite a bit on my channel, but I have to do it in separations because it can be a lot. Yeah. Let's actually get into why this then became an issue. So yeah, she met the love of her life. They're on the verge of marriage. And then a user on Kiwi's Farms reposted and now deleted TikTok that Amberlynn posted with Tommy showing her face. And now a TikTok user pointed out that they knew Tommy because they had been speaking to Tommy a few weeks prior, and people instantly started looking for who this Tommy individual was and found that Tommy went by a certain name, which I don't know if that name is like in the public. So
it is. It's not like that big of a deal. I just don't use it in my videos, but it's not like a secret or anything like that.
Okay, so they went by another name. We'll just say that. And then the users on the forums found posts by Tommy and an ex-girlfriend that involved feederism content, and Tommy went by Willow and the ex, Colleen, went by B. Yep. Is this all in line with everything?
No, this person did a fantastic job. They did I wish I could do stuff like this, like write it all down in a thing, but my brain just does not work that way.
Yeah, I mean, this is why I pay someone to do it for me, man.
It's incredible, man.
Yeah, I'll get the research, and in fairness, I will then spend like hours doing research myself into like what my researchers put down, because I need to double check everything. But also, it's like it makes it just so easier having things in front of me with like
incredible.
If I had to like go from, I did it for years of where it was like, oh, I've got nothing, and now I'm going to start from there. Actually having someone to help me with it helps a lot. It helps a lot, as you can see. But yeah. So getting into the actual feederism content, it says, according to the posts, B was bedbound and at one point weighed over 1,000 pounds. Holy shit. They also found that Colleen had been on TV due to her weight. Then there's a link to a TV segment, and there was more feederism related content and people on a feeder website talking about Colleen and Will. Wow, so there is like much history.
Yeah, there's a lot. So that's why it's like people get annoyed when I say allegedly, but I think that's just my YouTube brain. It's like, bro, I'm not trying to get in trouble. So
yeah. No, it's completely understandable. I mean, like, even like today, like speaking, I did a video updating the Illuminati legal case that I mentioned last week, and there's like things in it where I'm like, I completely believe what I'm saying right now, but just to save my ass legally, because I know that woman loves to sue people. So like, I was like, this is all alleged, and this is technically all just my opinion and is not fact, and we should say the same here. But yeah, so Colleen, the woman mentioned, previous ex of Tommy, passed away in April of 2024, and it mentions in the obituary that Tommy was their partner. Note down of 54 minutes just to cut that. There is a live stream of the service, and Tommy makes a speech. Calling Colleen the yin to her yang. That's some crazy stuff there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so like when that was found out, man, it was like, that's when I started to kind of cover it. Because at first it was like, oh, Amberlynn's in another relationship, whatever. Like, what's the big deal? It happens all the time. But then once this stuff came out, and I was alerted, because again, Rachel does a lot for me, and she does kind of research stuff, because like, I'm going to be honest, I don't sit on my free time like, let's watch an Amberlynn Reid video. It's just, it's just not what I do. And so we were talking about that, and then I was like, okay, this is interesting. And I feel like there is definitely, like, there's more substance here than just kind of like relationship drama. Like, there's serious implications. because a lot of times, especially with Amberlynn, part of the whole cycle that I feel like I've noticed is that when she gets into a relationship, a lot of times, a lot of the weight loss aspirations kind of slowly fall off a cliff because
that was like a really impressive sound effect. That actually sounded legit.
Thank you. Yeah, I pressed my Steam Deck here, my Stream Deck. No, I'm just kidding. And so it'll kind of fall off a cliff. And again, that's pretty common with a lot of people, actually, right? Like that's a very common thing. But the fact that we are seeing this and then all of these allegations are coming out and all of these people are worried, it obviously, it was a lot of, Amberlynn likes to talk about red flags. It was a red flag to me. And that's when I was like, wow, this is something that should be talked about for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So Amberlynn immediately, as she does, she then, straight after people started to find out about all of this, apparently jumped into a video, once again, addressing all the rumors. I love a good old Amberlynn addressing video. and of course, she starts the video off by crying, saying that they had an amazing time and dating someone who wasn't ashamed of her felt really good. They got a lot of support, but some people always ruin it. And I imagine because of quotes like this, naturally people are going to say, well, the reason that you're getting a lot of support is because she wants you in the same position as her ex, especially based on a lot of the past content a lot of people have seemingly seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just like, the way I see it, man, is like with Amberlynn and like the position that she's in, it takes a very specific person, in my opinion, to want to be in a relationship with that, right? And so I really struggle, and I could be wrong here, this is my opinion. I really struggle to believe that this person, Tommy, didn't know who Amberlynn was before this relationship started and wasn't aware of the culture that surrounds Amberlynn. Right. Yes. And so and then on top of all of this with Amberlynn, she gets very frustrated. And to an extent, I get it. I understand feeling like you're being under a microscope, but she consistently puts herself in this position by oversharing every detail of her life. And she wants people to care, but then she doesn't want people to care about these things, right? So it's like the whole she wants her cake and she wants to eat it too. That's really what I feel like she really struggles with and what the issue is here.
Yeah, absolutely. And just this might be has she continued to post weight loss content throughout all of this? Is that still something that she's been doing, or is it just kind of
that's another part of it?
Oh, okay, but we get down this.
I don't know if it's in the notes, but if it's not, I'll definitely mention it when we get to that point. But yes, okay. there's a level to it, to that for sure.
Okay, so then on July the 27th, Amberlynn confirms that their relationship is seemingly open, and she announced over, and they broke up, and basically she blames her audience for the breakup, and that they have ruined someone's life who doesn't deserve it, and Amberlynn doesn't think she'll be the same for a really long time. And I'm really laughing because I feel like I've heard that quote 50 times. Yeah. And this is the thing, right? If you're watching this and you don't know much about Amberlynn, you may think that's me being mean, but if you even dive slightly into the is it the Amberverse? Amberlynn-verse? Yeah, if you dive
you can call it that. There's Girl World is a big that's something that's mentioned a lot, but there's other people in that whole thing. It's a thing. But Amberverse works, I think, for sure.
Yeah. If you dive into that, you'll kind of notice that Amberlynn uploads "This is the end of the world" video every week, pretty much. Yeah. Then on July the 30th, Amberlynn posts a video titled "This has all gone way too far." She says that the situation that have been happening are not just gossiping, but in fact slander and defamation, and that she's had really high highs and low lows, but the situation has hit her differently. She no longer wants to do YouTube. Again, this is something which we've heard quite a lot.
Yeah. I mean, she's still here. This was the July, so.
Yeah. Maybe she's just waiting for the right moment. It scares her because being on YouTube would drastically change her life. She takes partial credit in all of this because years ago she became a troll, and she almost asked for negativity back at around 2019. Any attention was good attention. Now, I don't know if I've ever heard her admit to something so directly like this before. She may have done so, but for me, I haven't actually heard her say that sort of thing before. So
yeah, I thought that was very interesting as well. Yeah,
it's interesting that she admits that she used to do everything for attention back in 2019, and I would argue in 2024, she is who she was in 2019, amplified by like 4 times, if not more. So I don't understand why I'm supposed to believe that Amberlynn is different in 2024. She doesn't do everything for attention because, I mean, we've seen what she was like in 2019 and she literally just admitted to it. But also, I was making videos, I believe, in 2019 speaking about Amberlynn Reid. I think I did one maybe at the beginning of 2020. So things haven't really changed much since then from my perspective. So I'm really still in the same perspective of she is doing mostly everything for attention. Maybe not everything, but mostly everything.
Yeah, I think like, you know, obviously she might disagree with that, but I think like the amount that she shares and the amount that she posts at some point, it's like you don't have to share all of this stuff. And you know, that argument is always going to hold true. Like obviously you want the attention, you're titling the video this way, you're putting this in the thumbnail because you know people are going to click on it, right? You want the attention, you want the clicks. It is what it is.
Well, this is the thing, right? You have to sometimes, when it comes to these situations of where people are being like, just let her live her life or something like that, you have to apply the logic of normality to this. The average person who's dealing with relationship struggles or weight struggles isn't really getting, like, they can make a tweet about it maybe, or make a Facebook post about how their relationship sucks or something like that. But the average person isn't spending 10 years on YouTube posting a video every single day, updating the entire world about their life, and then in the full knowledge that there are communities dedicated to covering her. If she was like so upset by this, I don't think she would still in 2024 be updating the entire community on what she's doing every single day. Because Amberlynn, if she got into a relationship, I refuse to believe that she could not keep that private. And I'm not saying she necessarily has to, but like, I've kept things private from my audience because I want to keep it separate from my, you know, my real, like, sorry, my online life. Mm-hmm. And it's not that difficult. And I really don't think it would be that difficult for Amberlynn Reid. It's not like there's a camera crew following her every day. Amberlynn's camera crew is literally herself.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the double-edged sword, man. It's like, she's putting herself in the position. I don't want to be a dead horse. I feel like I've said it a bunch, but that's a lot of the criticism is like, well, you don't have to share this, right? But I think where the issue is that she feels that she has to, because and I don't mean this in a mean way. Yo, I'm a YouTuber too, right? But like, what else would she do for a job?
Oh yeah. And people can also argue that she could make weight loss related content of where
that's what I've said in the past, man.
Yeah, and I've said this too, but I just don't think that she could, because I mean, she has posted a lot of weight loss content, but I really think that the whole YouTube algorithm is poison for her brain. I think that she could lose quite a lot of weight and be seemingly on a 6-month successful journey. And you know, in the back of her mind, she knows that if she posts something like a little bit outrageous of, oh, I gained some weight, that's going to then get 1 million views or something like that. Like if she went on, say if Amberlynn spent a year of making really good progress, it's going to only get more attention if that progress then goes back, because that's just how the internet works, especially with people like this. Like, for example, if Nikocado Avocado gains all his weight back, say in 2 years' time, he's back at, what 300 pounds, I think that would be spoken about so much. You'd have people like Critical, myself, yourself. We'd cover this and speak about this because it's interesting. It's sadly more interesting than, oh, I lost weight. For one day, that's interesting, but then the internet just moves on. And Amberlynn knows that what she's doing here is a business model, and that it's like almost weirdly sustainable of like, if she doesn't lose the weight, if she just kind of falters around dieting every now and again and posting about her relationship, that's going to continue rather than just, oh, I've lost the weight now. See you later, guys. I'm leaving.
Yeah. And I really don't know, like, if I'm being completely honest, I don't know how much of it is her intentionally thinking to herself, I am not going to lose weight because I want to get more attention, right? I don't know how much of it is literally, it's just for her, it doesn't feel possible, right? Like weight loss is not something that she can do, you know? But then there's the arguments of like, she's speaking about Ozempic that we were talking about. She's tried that and she was on it for a little bit and then she got off of it because, and again, it's like, that's one of the cycles. It's like Amberlynn ends up being successful in some aspect with something. And then after a while, it's like she gets scared of it, which is common with people losing weight. It's almost like she's afraid of progress and then sabotages herself.
What was the reason she came off Ozempic? Was it just fear of taking it?
Yeah, I think like, or it was like how it made her feel. I mean, it's just like, there's valid things with that, but she also did lose some weight. And I mean, I guess I'll get into this. I don't know if it's in the, document, but like one of the thing that people were obviously worried about was like this being in this relationship with this person that was with someone that passed away. She was like, well, I didn't want to take Ozempic, but Tommy like encouraged me to take it, and they said they would take it with me.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was like, but then I just didn't want to, and it's like, that being said, right, it was like this whole conversation of how Tommy really wanted to help her lose weight, but since they've been together, Amberlynn has not lost a single pound. There has not been any mention about wanting to lose weight. It hasn't even been, it's like there has been basically zero mention since that, like, they said that they would go on Ozempic with me. And so it's just like, did they really say that? Again, it's like, yeah.
So it kind of must seem to everyone that she's only saying that because it's the weight loss drug. And if she said that the person who's supposedly the feeder wanted to take weight loss stuff, that obviously negates everything. But obviously...
Yeah, and that's one of the things with Amberlynn is it feels like everything is calculated. So it's like, that's why it's hard to believe anything that's said, because it's like, was that said because it's true, or was it said because if I say this, then people won't be able to say that they don't want me to, it's just like... it's all part of the journey, man.
So who is Erica? Because I keep seeing Erica mentioned in this part. Do you know much about the Erica character in this, or is this just a bit of a minor person?
I mean, I didn't really talk about it too much, but it's definitely interesting. But it's not really that relevant to the whole feeder arc. Yeah, it's kind of just relevant to Amberlynn being someone that likes to be in relationships, and the people that want to be in relationships, what kind of people they are. But we don't have to talk about that if you don't want to.
I don't really mind if you want to talk about it. That's absolutely fine with me. The more I know, really, because I reckon I am gonna do a video covering pretty much every detail, just because why not? there's a lot to talk about, and I like to talk. But I'm looking, Amberlynn has been posting so many videos about the situation. She's done a live stream about this Erica character. She's done more videos called Let's Talk About Tommy. So many screenshots and videos posted by Erica about Amberlynn. So what I can kind of see here is this this individual fell out with Amberlynn, Erica, over Tommy.
Yeah, so like basically from what I understand, and there might be people that are mad because I don't get it completely right, but basically this was another person completely separate from this whole situation that got into a relationship with Amberlynn. But the kicker is this person was married or is married.
Oh.
Okay. But also, this is crazy, brother. The person they were married to and them together decided it would be funny to message Amberlynn and start a fake relationship with Amberlynn. What? But what ended up happening was this Erica person, I think, ended up actually liking Amberlynn and no longer letting the person know that they were continuing to talk to Amberlynn. And then there was a relationship between Erica and Amberlynn that went on in secret from the person whose idea it was to message Amberlynn. And then they ended up having a falling out. And I'm pretty sure that's what that whole thing is about. And this was happening, I think, either like right before Amberlynn was talking to Tommy or like right in those areas.
What? Brother. What is wrong with people? What is wrong with guys? That's just insane. Like
allegedly, by the way. Okay,
allegedly, of course. In my opinion, saw it in a video game.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I definitely have to speak about that in my video because that's just like, there's chronically online, and then there's just like, oh my god, you're ruining your marriage over Amberlynn Reid from a joke you were the joke itself is cruel. But also,
I think Amberlynn has Cupid arrows. That's the only thing I can think of. She's shooting people and they're falling in love with her. Like, that's the only thing I can think of.
I mean, she's been in more relationships than me. I'm impressed. Like, she does a good job. I mean, where does she find these people? Is she on Tinder, the Hinge? Like, I don't know,
man. I don't know.
She successfully got someone who was in a relationship, sorry, in a marriage, and they were playing a joke on Amberlynn. And Amberlynn basically Uno reversed that joke onto them and decimated their marriage.
I don't know if they're still together. I haven't kept up on it too much, but that was like they were playing a haha funny joke. Let's message Amberlynn, make her like this person, right? And then that person ended up actually really liking Amberlynn, and then didn't tell the person who's, I think it was their original idea to message Amberlynn, and then. Then it got found out, and I don't know if the marriage ended, but they broke it off with Amberlynn. That is just insane. And I keep on saying the word insane, but all of this is just completely wild. And I think this does kind of also play into what we were speaking about earlier of like, we don't necessarily care about Amberlynn getting into a new relationship and speaking about it. But I think stuff like this does just show to us that her style of posting everything online is putting herself in these terrible positions, because as much as it's funny, I think it really does just show that in a weird way, she's almost like vulnerable to people like this. And that is because of the content that she posts, regardless of if it's rage bait or not. And now that's actually affecting her real relationships. I mean, I almost feel bad for her, but at the same time, as you said before, it almost seems that everything she does is calculated. And there's like a part of me that's thinking, maybe she knew that they were playing a joke on her. Maybe she almost wanted to reverse this thing onto them. Again, that's just a theory, but, given everything, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, dude. I mean, that one's wild for sure. I don't think I ever mentioned in a video because I was just like, this really has nothing to do with what I'm trying to focus on. But this podcast is about whatever, so we can talk about it for sure. But that's who that person is, and that's what the Valentine person is. That's who that is.
Yeah. So going back into speaking about Tommy. Did they get back together? Because I can see in September the 5th, it seems
that's the whole thing. There are people that just don't believe that they ever actually broke up, right? They think that Amberlynn said they broke up, but then they didn't actually, because they didn't actually. They're still together. So again, that just goes into Amberlynn doing things to prove the haters wrong or try and trick others, but then it's so easy to see through it that people are like, yeah, I don't think they actually broke up, and then lo and behold, they didn't actually break up. Or if they did break up, they broke up for 30 minutes, because there was not much of a lull between we broke up to we're actually still together, or we got back together.
Yeah, I have no doubts in my mind that Amberlynn just completely lied about the whole thing. I mean, it's not it's not like it's anything new at the end of the day. I mean, she's lied about a lot, because on September the 5th, she posts, "Meet my girlfriend," for the 5th time. The video was recorded the night after Tommy left after her most recent visit. She felt very loved, and her mum, this is our researcher Louisa's description here. Her mum loved her and thought Tommy had an amazing aura. And then the 2 days later, she posted on September the 7th, "Let's talk about my weight gain." So I guess this kind of comes into what we've been speaking about recently, of where a month prior, Amberlynn said that she was at her lowest weight, 467 pounds, but that was after getting cellulitis?
Yeah.
Which she had not mentioned to her audience previously, and she always gains weight after she gets cellulitis, and she also stopped taking
semaglutide. That's basically Ozempic.
Okay, her weight loss medication, which made her get back to her appetite. So I imagine, so then after this, she goes on to say that, Ozempic wasn't working. So Tommy convinced her to try tirzepatide instead.
Trizepatide, yeah. Again, these are all very similar medications, right, that help with weight loss. GLP-1 medications that help with, very similar to, I always just call it Ozempic. It's just easier because people know what it is. They're all very, very similar things.
Yeah. So I guess this kind of comes into what we were speaking about earlier of has Amberlynn lost weight? Seemingly not, despite taking Ozempic. Which, I mean, if there was ever like something to predict in the Amberlynn verse, it would be her taking Ozempic and it not working. Her being the first candidate for Ozempic to never, ever work. I mean, I'm sure there have been others, don't get me wrong, but I think it almost seems too predictable. But then, after this, we've just got like a bunch of... They seem to have been posting a lot of content together. She's back fully in love with Tommy. And there's this Alexis character I keep seeing mentioned. Is that someone significant in this story?
Yeah, that's like basically like a close friend of Amberlynn. And there was definitely some drama between them because Alexis, from what I remember, I mean, there's so much stuff. I think they had went on to, I think it was TikTok and like did a video kind of like exposing Amberlynn and like sharing negatives again, because Alexis was like someone that was like on Amberlynn's side for a long time, and then all of a sudden they kind of turned, which didn't last very long because they're back to be friends again, and they ended up I'm kind of skipping ahead, but they ended up uploading a video where they're all friends again, right? So, but it was like, oh, this person that was on Amberlynn's side is now against Amberlynn being with Tommy, and then that just fueled the whole like, is this person good for Amberlynn? Like, people are genuinely starting to be worried, right? So that's who Alexis is.
And it seems to me, from what I've seen, just from like this research alone and what we're speaking about here, it seems that Amberlynn is surrounded by a lot of people that almost are, I mean, not almost, but seemingly are just trying to take advantage of her, from what I can see anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, that's what a lot of people feel, especially like the more recent kind of relationships. I think like before, personally, I feel like some of the previous relationships she was in, it was like genuinely someone that liked being with Amberlynn. And but I think now, as we've gotten to like the past few years, it's definitely like, it feels like a lot of people are around, they're kind of leeching, a lot of people kind of feel that way about it.
Yeah. And then skipping over a few things here, getting to the last bit in October the 23rd, and things have happened since then, I believe, because you've covered it recently as far as I know, so we'll get into that in a sec. On October 23rd, Amberlynn posted a video titled Where I've Been. She took a short break because sometimes the type of reaction she gets from her content becomes a little bit too much for her to handle, but she promises she is okay, and she also just wanted to focus on hanging out with Tommy. People then noticed 2 videos were gone from her channel during her break. According to Amber, YouTube took them down. The videos were videos of eating a whole rotisserie chicken and eating 5,000 calories in a day. People thought she got a strike, but she did not. She understands the 5,000 calorie video was taken down, but finds the chicken one unfair. This doesn't seem really that related. I don't understand why YouTube would take down her eating 5,000 calories. Is there the allegation there that she lied about that as well?
No, that's a whole interesting thing, man. And like, I talked about it because I think it was YouTube basically saying it was like a form of self-harm. And I've talked about this a lot when it comes to YouTube and like mukbang videos. Because I think it's like, I've always said, I don't think YouTube will ever really make a stand of like, oh, you can't, like, if you're a fat person, right, you can't upload mukbang videos, because like, at what point, like, why is that doesn't feel fair? And it feels like they would. It just sounds weird, right? Like, oh, if you're thin, you can upload a 10,000 calorie challenge video, but if you're fat, you can't. I just never thought that they would take any sort of stand on it. There have been people that said, like, in that video, she was talking about having an eating disorder, an ED, and so that's what it was actually. Again, that's kind of that whole thing. But what has happened, like, recently, basically, and what has been happening was that Amberlynn ended up, again, very new relationship. Basically, it seems that she has moved, but it was just supposed to be like a road trip, but she's been there for a long time. So she moved from her house in the South, I forget exactly what state she's in, but to like the Midwest. It was a huge drive, like 13-hour drive that she had to make with her mom that ended up helping her. And, a lot of people were like, if you're only going for a little bit, why are you taking all your animals? Because it doesn't seem like it was for a little bit, right? And so, and again, it was like, she's packing all this stuff. So a lot of people are like, why are you packing so much stuff? Like, this is so weird. It was because, and again, there was speculation of like, she's not going back home. And it doesn't seem like that's happening anytime soon. There hasn't not been any,
is she still there?
Reference. Oh yeah. Yeah. There's a lot more to it. Yeah. There's some stuff that has happened recently. And so Amberlynn gets there and, she ends up, it's in the notes, but she meets Alexis, right? There was this whole thing like wherein people were like, well, she didn't like you. And now, they met up in person. And when she first got there, there was videos where she was like out and about doing things. But the past like while, I don't even know, month or something, every video has been sitting in one spot, just kind of talking about random things, right? So people are like, these are so boring. Like these videos are so boring. But what has happened most recently, like literally what is going on right now, is that, so first off, Amberlynn disappeared and didn't post for a very long time, right? Like over a month, which is very strange.
I can see the gap here. She was in a few days in Wisconsin with my girlfriend, and then a month later she uploaded I Met Alexis.
Yes. So there was a huge gap in posting, which is very strange for Amberlynn. Yes. And then while she posted for a few days, then it came out. Now this came out not by her. People found this because, again, people are very interested. Apparently Amberlynn's cat ran away, right? Amberlynn has a few animals and she really cares about them, right? Allegedly, people will get mad if I. Some people think that she hates her animals. I'm sure she cares about them, right?
I've seen the videos.
The cat ran away, and then people found out because there was posts on like a Facebook group trying to find the cat. So then Amberlynn comes on and says, I lost the cat. She's very distraught, and then she's like, we're trying everything, and people are obviously having their opinions, like, why are you making a video about this? Why aren't you out searching? Yada yada yada. But then the thing that is weird to me is that, there was this huge gap in posting before the cat is gone. But then since the cat has been missing, there has been way more videos posted than like in a long time, right?
I'm looking at them right now, and they all are like, we need to talk, why I stopped drinking, addressing everything, my heart is broken, the truth, I can't, it's very
and so the thing, okay, so with that, right, if we're looking at, so we see the Tommy Rumors video, right? I'll just go through the video. So that was, before that, there was this addressing everything video. And that's when all of the Tommy Rumors came out. None of it was mentioned, right? And so a lot of people felt like that was kind of like clickbait. They were upset with that. And then the next video was finally the Tommy Rumors video where things were quote unquote addressed. But then the next video is My Heart is Broken. So people obviously thought that was about Tommy and their relationship ending. But it was about the cat being gone. And people were like, did you really clickbait your cat being gone? Like, so again, that's up to the person to interpret how they feel. Where is Twinkie? God, I know way too much about this person. Where is Twinkie? Twinkie is one of her animals, the dog.
There is like a realization, isn't there? Sometimes where it's like, it's what we spoke about earlier. We just stop. You're like, why do I know who Twinkie is?
Dude. So that's a video of her just being like, hey, the dog's here. It's fine, right? The dog didn't run away. And then,
okay.
And then the next video, dude, I can't believe this happened again. And then she looks excited in the thumbnail, right?
Yeah.
So people are like, oh, the cat came back.
Yeah.
Brother, this video is 17 minutes of her explaining that Tommy got her tickets to see Billie Eilish. That's it. There is a mention in the first like 30 seconds of like, I'm still very sad. But to be fair, this video was recorded before the cat went missing. Okay. But again, and then the next video is her, the best night of my life, titling it the best night of my life. And it's her at the Billie Eilish concert, right? Again, recorded before the cat was missing. But again, what is strange to me is that she took this super long break because of mental health issues, right? That's what she says. And like, just YouTube wasn't fun. Her cat goes missing. And then she is posting more now than she was before.
Why do you think the reason is?
I mean, I don't know. My thought is that this is something that a lot of people are talking about. And so it's like people are clicking on the videos. So the videos are doing
but I think I've got my theory.
Yeah,
theory.
man. I mean, that's kind of what I think too. But and then this
revenue.
last video, brother, of us recording this. Most likely there will be another video uploaded before this video goes up. I won't be surprised. But as of recording this, it is titled "The Truth," and it is a thumbnail of her standing in front of the sliding glass door that this cat allegedly ran out of. You know what this reminds me of? You know what this thumbnail reminds me of?
Go on.
You remember the Ace family when they had their house broken into and they posed in front of the broken? That's vibes. Those are the vibes I'm getting off of this.
And she's like sad in that thumbnail too.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like taking a photo to. Again, all of these are monetized, and it's like it's her just explaining what actually happened and trying to, explain away everything that happened and why, the haters are wrong. And again, it's like, fair enough. I can understand being frustrated about people saying things that you feel aren't true. But the thing that Amberlynn, I feel like she understands, but maybe she doesn't, is like, the more you do this, the more you upload these videos, the more you feed into it, the more it's gonna happen. And so it's like it's just every day, basically, at this point, is like addressing these things. And it's like, I can't believe this happened. Oh, the cat's found. No, it's actually a video about me talking about going to a concert for 17 minutes. It's like nothing happens in this video,
Yeah.
And it's like, so people feel like, well, there was nothing that happened in this video, so let's make it seem like this big thing that so many people are worried about. I got my cat back. Let's make them think that's what's happening, so they'll actually watch this video. That's kind of the most recent stuff that's going on. The whole animal stuff. It's sad. It is sad, right? A cat being missing is sad, but the circumstances around it, it's like, people are like, well, maybe if you didn't bring the animals to a place that they weren't familiar with this new person that you just got in a relationship with, this wouldn't have happened, right? So,
my theory is. Maybe I'm a cynic, but November is a good time, especially December for the average YouTuber.
Yeah, it is.
Google get a lot of advertisements that come in and say, we want to advertise our ads.
Why do you think we started
videos.
this podcast now?
Yeah, guys, we're using you all.
We'll be back next December, baby,
Yeah, the moment January hits, we're going on like a 7-month vacation. And then it's like one episode a month until November. Then we'll do Ambulance Cats Come Back. And now it's gone.
We'll do a video every freaking day, baby. Let's go.
Well, no, genuinely, I think let's look at if I go to when she left YouTube. So she left in September, and then she came back in around late October, November time. And that is specifically leading into Q4, which is when the advertisements go up. So yeah, she very much has been baiting out, in my opinion, from what I can see here, her cat running away for views. I mean, the thumbnails alone, to the viewer that, well, none of you guys can see what we're looking at right now, but basically the thumbnail called The Truth, you can go find it if you really want. It's like her next to a door, visibly upset, and the door is like slightly open, like just slightly ajar, and it's like you click on that and you think like you're the dogs ran away, the other cats ran away, something. Twinkie's gone.
The bird flew away, man.
Tommy ran away. But
I haven't seen Tommy in 3 weeks, man. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I'm supposed to pay rent here. I don't know.
Right, if Tommy ran away, that's great. That's her December covered.
Yeah,
she's doing Vlogmas.
Yeah, dude. There's more. There's other things that it's just like with Amberlynn. It's very interesting because it's like she will overshare so many things, but then there will be other things that are like a big deal that just like it's like not mentioned, right? And it's like all of these other channels are talking about it. And again, these channels, almost every single person that watches Amberlynn also watches these reaction channels, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's not a secret, but it's like she just won't talk about it. And it's like everyone in the comments is like, why aren't you talking about this? Why aren't you talking about this? There's like children that are part of this whole thing that are just haven't been ever mentioned in her videos, where it's like clearly.
Sorry guys, we just had a slight nightmare scenario. Everything is okay. We thought we'd lost the whole recording, but we haven't. So yeah. What were we talking about? Amberlynn Reid. Yeah, sorry, we're kind of like kind of been thrown off our.
Yeah, well, I mean,
here.
we were honestly, it was at least it happened like towards the end. So, I mean, basically, that's kind of where we're at now. As far as the whole situation, it's still up in the air. The cat hasn't been found yet. A lot of people are kind of curious about what's going to happen. It has been a couple days since there's been an upload as of recording this podcast. But yeah, that's kind of like the biggest thing, obviously, is the whole Tommy situation. And, you know, she is still currently not home. It doesn't look like that's going to be happening anytime soon, but who knows? You never know with Amberlynn. And yeah, it's been quite interesting though, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the Amberlynn Reid journey only like continues to almost like mesmerize me. The fact that some of the things that we've gone through have just been absolutely wild. And I definitely am going to make a video like covering all of this, because it almost feels like I'm piecing things together here, because there is just so much that I genuinely didn't realize that was going on. I think the most crazy thing for me is that whole thing of the people trying to like trick Amberlynn into like that is
it doesn't
mental.
feel real. It doesn't feel real. Like when I first heard about it, I was like, that's fake.
Netflix.
I don't think, for real, dude. At this point, shoot, man, I'm just so curious of like the people that did that. Why? What is going on in your house? And then like the person whose idea it was, or at least that was in on it, and then was told that they were done talking. How do you like? You have to feel terrible. I would be so embarrassed if that was me. Yeah.
Especially like getting outplayed by Amberlynn Reid of all people as well. It's just like so wild.
I mean, it's it's so interesting to me, man. It is so interesting, and that whole thing is interesting. But I never really talked about it in a video. But when I heard about it, I was like, that's insane, man.
yeah. I'm excited to cover this now, because I honestly, when I first saw all of it, I watched your video the other day and I was like, oh, there is way more to this than I actually thought. Because I originally did just think, oh, it's like Amberlynn Reid relationship drama. But no, it's so much more. And I feel like this is, I usually only focus on like a lot of like the weight stuff to do with Amberlynn, because that personally is the more interesting thing for me.
Same.
But this is like as interesting, because it really does just show. I think I speak about it a lot, how far like the algorithm will push somebody into doing like wild things for content purposes. And this is just another prime example of that. Like you've got all the things of Nick Ocado, and then you've got Amberlynn Reid. And I don't think those two are like similar, to be honest. Nick is more of a character, whereas Amberlynn is a real person,
like
I think.
Nick, based a lot of his character, his Nick Ocado character, on Amberlynn. And there's so many examples of him basically mentioning her. I think like he was calling his nutritionist Hamber, I think, or something like that. Like it was, and then he would mention, I lost 80 something pounds. And that was something that Amberlynn would always say, when I lost this much weight. Yeah. And so a lot of his character, I think, was based on Amberlynn. And like that, the whole Nick Ocado thing, I mean, that could be its own episode. That thing was so interesting to me, because I had made a couple videos. I mean, not a couple. I made a good amount of videos on Nick Ocado, but I always said like it felt weird, because I felt like I was making a video on like a WWE character. Like this is someone that nothing that he's doing, saying is actually real. It's all an act that he was putting on. That's how I felt. And then it ended up being true. So I honestly am the smartest person on the entire internet. But I don't think that I was alone.
Smarter than me.
Yeah, I don't think I was alone in feeling that way. I think a lot of people kind of sussed that out. Yeah. I will say, I mean, I didn't think that what was happening was happening. I won't go as far as saying that he was secretly losing weight for 2 years or whatever. You know, I don't think anyone really had that idea. But that whole thing, man, and I think that, you know, people were joking around when it first happened, like Amberlynn could have done this. But I mean, again, Nick could do it because it was all fake. You know, Amberlynn, this isn't fake. Like as much as she might lie or not tell full truths, I think is a better way to explain it. It's like really a person. You know, it's really a person that is trying to, you know, survive and do things. But with Nick, it was like a complete character. And so, I mean, I've like thought about it. I was like, I wonder if him and like Orlin, if they were ever actually together, you know, like that really, there's so much to it. I know I'm getting off topic, but yeah.
Allin and Nick, I think, definitely are together, and I think they have been together for a very long time, since around 2013. And I just think that Allin is as much as of a character as Nick is. And I think what like really I don't know if I mentioned it in the previous episode. I've spoken to you about, I think I mentioned it when we first spoke about this podcast. What really frustrates me about that whole situation of when I made my 7-hour video is going through like all of the drama, all of the stuff, all of the rage bait. My main point in the big conclusion to everything is that Nick is just playing everyone. He is obviously trolling. And like, there are scenarios where he has done things which deserve a lot of criticism, and especially the Stephanie Sue situation. But in terms of everything else, it's obviously all bait. And in my video, throughout the chapters, I'm like, there's sections here where I'm just not going to cover this lore because it's just him repeating things for the sake of rage bait. And I feel like people saw my 7-hour video and they were like, it's a 7-hour exposed video. When it was not that.
Yeah.
It was just going through the lore and just explaining everything and showing to the world that this is a guy who has been catered by, like, he's been shaped by the algorithm, which is a name of a series about Amberlynn Reid, I believe. But Amberlynn has also been shaped by the algorithm in a very different way, of where Nick clearly acknowledged he can do certain things in a character or exaggerated way for content, and he can separate his actual real life away from that. Because, I mean, I've spoken to you, I've spoken to other people who have said that Nick behind closed doors is a completely different person who Nick is. And that's very obvious, I think. Like, he's not going to be someone who's like screaming, throwing food in people's faces. And obviously not. Whereas Amberlynn, I would not be shocked if she is exactly the same human being as who she is in her videos.
Yeah, I think so, 100%. But what will you do if the next video that Amberlynn uploads is the cat has been the cameraman the whole time and it's all fake?
The cat. I was gonna say the cat was Tommy or something. There's gonna be like some massive plot twist, man. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't be shocked. I would love it if one day Amberlynn did just like do something on the scale of what Nick did. But as you said, I just can't ever see that.
Yeah, I don't see it happening either, man. But who knows, man? You never know.
Yeah, I feel like to conclude this topic, we will. If you've got time, we can briefly speak about a couple other things, not in this detail, of course. If you've got
let's do it.
Okay, but yeah. So to kind of wrap this up, I mean, I don't really know how to actually conclude this section other than it is pure, unfiltered chaos.
Stuff's effed up. That's the conclusion.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. We haven't got script, man. This is a podcast. You're coming here expecting like some high detailed analysis. Go watch a right opinion video or something.
Yeah.
Go watch my videos or John's videos.
I don't know about mine. Mine are basically a glorified podcast, but you know, there's other stuff out there.
Don't doubt yourself, man. Your video, you know more than me, and that's what matters. Okay, so I kind of wanted to speak a bit about Lunchly, and I've even got it written down in like the little dash thing of where I'm going in specific details. A bit late to it. But I haven't really spoken about Lunchly anywhere, and I get people like, when I'm like, I put up a community post being like, what do you guys want me to speak about this week? And I get loads of comments being like, speak about Lunchly, and I don't really know what more I can say other than what I'm going to say now in like a 5-minute section of, yeah, it's not great. But I'm not that bothered about making a full video on it, but I imagine you've seen all the Lunchly stuff over the last few months.
The whole thing, man, it's just like, I understand that a lot of people's issue is the whole, like, it's marketed as healthy. And I think that that's valid criticism because, you know, it's the same. It's kind of very similar to the Mr. Beast stuff with his candy bars.
Beastables.
It was like, at first it was marketed as like, you know, the healthy alternative, but now I'm pretty sure it's like basically the same as like any other candy bar. It's really not any different. And so it's just like, you know, people, that's marketing 101, man. Like, like try and differentiate yourself. Because if they didn't differentiate it all from Lunchables, right, which is obviously their biggest competitor, like, why would you buy it, right? Other than name recognition, which, kids are going to be like, oh, give me this, mommy. You know, like, I like Mr. Beast. I like KSI. I guess some kids like Logan Paul still, but like, but for the most part, it's like you have to try and differentiate to garner that that audience, kind of like how it was at Prime was able to differentiate themselves from Gatorade, right? And then
we've
now
got electrolytes,
stuff
like that.
Yeah. And so I know there's like I know you have it written down, so I don't want to take responsibility, take the credit, but like the moldy cheese thing. I mean, stuff like that happens. I don't know. Like, I think that it's hilarious to me that one, I think it was Dan TDM, tweeted like one thing, like, it's just
YouTubers,
people just trying to make money. And then KSI, I think he still talks about it.
Yeah.
It's
I saw Dan spoke on a podcast recently about it, like yesterday, of where he was basically saying that he found it more funny to just not respond and watch KSI, to just like tweet him to oblivion about it. And like, obviously KSI is probably doing it for interaction, mate, on some cases, but it was kind of a bit sad to see, especially a UK content creator myself, to see the biggest guy in the UK just kind of like fall on his sword. I mean, I know Dan is also a UK content creator, but it was almost like embarrassing to watch. I'm like, man, you're like in your 30s. Don't you have like a mortgage to pay or something? Like, no offense, but I'm almost there too. But but it's like, I just felt weird to see this established multi-millionaire KSI really just crashing out over this. And honestly, it's like, bro, you won.
Yeah, I just don't get it, man. Like, that's the thing that I struggle with is like, brother, you are a multi-millionaire. Why do you care so much? I just don't get that. The only thing I can think of is, like you said, it just to garner more attention, to keep people talking about it.
But it's like I don't know about you, man, but like, if one day, like, I win the lottery and it's a big lottery, I get $1 billion. There's never been $1 billion lottery until now, and I'm the winner of it. I am still probably going to make content, but I'm not going to make as much content because I don't really feel under the pressure in terms of finances, I don't think. I would probably upload once every 2 weeks or something like that because I have the pure enjoyment of it. And I would take my time with it because I don't have to worry, I don't have to be the first to this, otherwise it's not going to do well. And, I've got bills to pay and stuff like that. But like, with KSI, it's confusing because, like, I really wouldn't be surprised if he's coming up to being a billionaire with how much money Prime has made. He's got his own vodka brand. He's got the Sidemen. He's got KSI's YouTube channel. He's got the KSI music career. He's got Lunchly. He's got so many other things. Today, he just announced with the other Sidemen and some other guys like Speed, they're announcing a world, like, soccer league, which is going to be, like, massive on YouTube and Twitch every single week. And it's like, you have so many routes of avenue. Why are you still... And boxing, by the way. He also was a big ownership in boxing.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it's like, why are you so still focused on drama? And he speaks about it being like a legacy thing. He wants his legacy to be like well respected after years and years, say after he leaves social media. But it's like, I don't think you're really helping your legacy of how you've been like handling this. And honestly, when it comes to Lunchly, I really don't care if KSI is selling a Lunchables clone. I genuinely don't. And even with the moldy stuff, I'm still not that bothered. Like, as much as people might get upset by that, I just don't have enough energy to get on camera and be like, "Oh, my cheese is moldy."
Yeah.
Like
it's like one of those things that I think there are very many reasons to criticize KSI that are valid and make sense. Stuff like that. The way I feel, I think it's like, let's focus on the things that are like actually a problem. I think like when things like this end up getting focused on, it ends up taking away from the valid criticism. And like, I think that it was valid criticism, like what the Dan guy said. I don't mean that in a mean way. I just have never. I don't know who he is. But from what he said, it's
Respect
like, clearly
British YouTubers, man.
Yeah, it's clearly like, it's a way to make money. Like, let's be real. Like, does Mr. Beast, Logan Paul, and KSI really care that Lunchables are unhealthy? No. Do you think they really were in there mixing up the ingredients? Like, oh, this is gonna be no. They put their name on it. Period. That's what they did.
there's like a real like desire of mine to think that Logan Paul, KSI, and Mr. Beast actually were really.
They had the hairnets
like,
on.
No,
like
they were in the kitchen
like,
doing like cooking mama level stuff. Like they were like
holding
they
hands.
were trying. Yeah. Trying to find the ultimate recipe for Lunchables, and they found it. They found it. Mold. Apparently,
mold was
But do you know what really fascinates me about this trio of Logan, KSI, and Mr. Beast is I saw a video recently where it was like it was basically the title was that they have no chemistry, and it blew up, and it is very true, and they are obviously all connected and friends based on business, which is fine. A lot of people do that in this industry. I
mean, literally, KSI and Logan Paul fought each other.
Yeah.
Like they fought each other in a boxing match. Like,
yeah, they are permanently linked by profit and making money. But what I'm fascinated by is the Logan Paul aspect of this. I don't really, because you mentioned just now, maybe Logan Paul has fans of like kid fans still. We know Mr. Beast and KSI still have a lot of fans. Like the Sidemen are so popular in the UK. They get like 10 million views a video every single week. Mr. Beast is obviously the biggest YouTuber ever. I'd go as far as to say he's bigger than people like PewDiePie, and everyone knows who Mr. Beast is. Even my parents know who Mr. Beast is. I'm just fascinated by how Logan Paul has managed to be strung into all of this. I understand he still is a big name and he's known by everyone, but for only negative reasons. I mean, the crypto stuff that guy has been involved in over 3 years now is just absolutely wild. And the CoffeeZilla investigations, I don't know if you've seen them.
Oh yeah, I like Coffee a lot. I think he's like, I've been watching his videos. Not to sound like an old head, like I'm a CoffeeZilla old head, brother. But I've been watching his videos from like before he was doing like the crypto stuff, which admittedly I don't fully understand crypto stuff. He's always talking. I'm like, yeah, F those people. I don't really understand anything, but like that seems pretty shady, man. But like I've always really enjoyed his videos. But yeah, sorry. Side note.
Yeah. No. I completely get that. Do you know what? Talking about crypto, I actually I had money in crypto in 2017, and I remember back then thinking, I'm too late to this thing, man. I'm too late to the money, and I made a bit of money, and I took the money out because I was like, I've got my money. I'm gonna leave. Yeah. That was when Bitcoin was at like £5,000, or like $7,000. It's worth a lot more than that now. Yeah. It's worth a lot more than that now. And what even frustrates me even more is I knew about Bitcoin in 2013. I mentioned in the previous episode, I was very internet savvy. And I remember thinking, how do I get into Bitcoin? But obviously I didn't have a debit card or a credit card back then because I was like 14, 15 years old or whatever I was. And I remember my friend even saying he got a virus because he got a Bitcoin miner on his computer and he didn't know how to get rid of it. So he had to like take it into a shop or something to get it cleaned out and stuff. I've always known about Bitcoin, and it's very frustrating to see so many influencers get rich off it. People say, how did Mr. Beast get so much money? Cryptocurrency, and then investing that money into other things. If you were around in 2017, you would know that for the most part in terms of Mr. Beast's like circle, if you knew him back then. And I knew people that knew him, and it's very obvious he made a lot of money from that. And I was obviously fascinated by the fact, so to go back into it, I was fascinated by the fact that Logan Paul has been strung into all of this despite his crypto shenanigans and the amount of investigations CoffeeZilla has done into him. But now my answers have pretty much came from the fact that Mr. Beast and KSI have now had their own investigations. And it's very evident that allegedly they have been doing a lot of suspicious things. And it's like, I think we focus on the wrong things. Like, I don't want to speak about like Lunchly on my channel. I want to speak about the fact that these people, especially Logan, have seemingly ruined the lives of people by pumping and dumping stuff. Now, Mr. Beast, I'm not 100% sure is anywhere close to Logan in terms of how bad it got. But even then, you have to question people like Logan and KSI of why are you so associated with this guy? Sure, he's your friend, but your name being attached to him by being in business consistently together, being a trio, which they seemingly are now, that is only going to make people encouraged to going into Logan's business, which involves a lot of shady cryptocurrencies. And that can endanger a lot of people. And I'm more confused why that isn't a bigger talking point than the things like, oh, moldy cheese.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just weird. Like, why would you want to be associated with that? You know, and like the way I just struggle, like this is where I feel like I'm different from, I'm just not like other girls. But like at this point, all three of them, you have enough money. Why?
Oh yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? That's my biggest thing is like, Mr. Beast, you have so much money. Why do you feel like you need to make more and more and more? And then like, I know you have it in the notes with everything that's going on, like he's getting investigated in like the Oompaville thing, right? It's like, and he didn't answer really any questions. And it's like, why can't you just take some responsibility and be like, you know what? Yeah, you know, I messed up a little bit. I just don't understand it. I don't get that at all.
And what makes it even weirder is people will be like, hey, man, they're allowed to make money. It's like, I'm not saying they can't make money, but you can ethically make money.
So much money. Like selling merch. Like, I mean, you know, some people might be like, you know, $35 for a t-shirt isn't ethical, but it's like, at least you're getting a t-shirt.
Yeah, at least you're not like paying for like a coin that could then get dumped and you lose all of your money. Like, imagine you were to buy that shirt and then the next day that short shirt is, say, like, I don't know, 1% of the size of the shirt that you originally bought. That's like the equivalent to it, and it doesn't fit you anymore. Like
that's a really good way to explain it, because I've always been like, I don't really like, I got it to an extent, but that makes sense.
Yeah. It's like, it's not like crypto isn't a physical, like I don't get as upset by crypto as a lot of other people do. I understand that it is like bad for the environment in a lot of cases. I think a lot of people aren't that informed on it to the highest extent, and I don't claim to be an expert, but like Bitcoin and stuff, I get it if you've got money in that. But the things that Logan was promoting over the last 3 years, the NFTs, the Dink Doink, Dink Doink is amazing. Like they did like I swear they did like a mini cartoon to parody South Park for it.
Yeah.
Like, why? I don't get it. You can make money, and maybe it would be a little bit. This is the problem. They're greedy, and like
it's a little bit more work, right? It's so easy to do crypto. It's like, you know, from what I understand, it's like talk about it, pump it, right? Oh, it's the best thing ever, and then a bunch of people buy it, and you're like, oh, cool, it's worth so much. Take all my money, right? That's basically what happens.
Yeah, pretty much that's exactly it. And I remember seeing in 2020, dude, I felt like a tinfoil hat like conspiracy first. It was like 2021, I believe, and I remember seeing like a load of content creators in my like space at the time promoting a certain coin that a lot of these guys were all in on. Can't remember the exact name, and honestly, I don't want to name it for like legal reasons. But I remember they were all pumping it, and I saw it, and I was like, this is when I was like first clocking on to these crypto scams who were pumped by influencers, and I thought to myself, this is a scam. And I remember tweeting out being like, in 6 months' time, a year's time, this coin will not be worth anything, or all the people that are promoting it right now would have sold half of their stock in that coin. And it happened. And a lot of these coins that I'm referencing now are being investigated and showing that there was a lot of shady things going on there. The main people leading those coins have now stepped down because they were guilty of pumping and dumping their coins that they paid influencers to promote. And that's the thing. There's a lot of money in this. I've received a few offers in my time of people. I'm willing to say how much it was. I got offered like $25,000 to make one video promoting a crypto coin, and like that money could have been a house deposit.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah, house deposit right there. I'm set for the rest of my life because I can pay for the deposit, and then I can get my mortgage in, and, you know, investment in the house, and like. I get why the temptation is there, but as someone who is Logan Paul, who is a multi-millionaire, you've got Prime, bro. You've got like one of the most reputable brands of the last 3 years. Why do you feel the need to still promote these awful methods of making money?
And then with the crypto as well, I think where a lot of people don't really, like you were saying, I don't get why people are more outraged, because like honestly, like a way I think about it, and this might sound like heartless, but it's like, I think the people that are getting scammed, how the writing is on the wall, brother. Like,
it's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
How do you think, like, Logan Paul has my best interests in mind? Like,
the guy that went into the Japanese forest, he's got my interest.
That's where I don't understand. I know with, like, the Mr. Beast stuff that's coming out, that CoffeeZilla, like, he made a video very recently talking about, like, this was 2021. This was a few years ago, maybe before. You know, this is when Mr. Beast was, before anyone had anything negative. You said anything negative about Mr. Beast, you were like, you know, shipped off. Like, it was game over for you, right? And so I can understand that, but like with like KSI and Logan Paul, people that have like had all these controversies, and there's been time and time again of like, hey, maybe this person doesn't have the best interest, your best interest in heart, and there's just continuing. I just don't get it, and so I don't want to say I don't care about that, but I can understand how people are like, well, I mean, they shouldn't have trusted him, like.
Well, I mean, why? I mean, honestly, like, just like think from this like a sane perspective. Logan Paul, like, he has been nothing but like he was controversial in 2016. H3H3 made a video on him in 2016, and it's like that's how long back far back it goes, and it's like to then think, oh, I'm going to invest all of my life savings into something called Crypto Zoo and Dink Doink.
Dink Doink, that's all my money, baby. Let's freaking go. Dink Doink to the moon.
Like, oh man, like look, I don't know if it's like an American thing of where there seems to be a lot of fraudulent tactics in terms of making money in there is here too, but it's like it seems to be widespread on
the
American
YouTube. Dream, baby.
Yeah, buy some Dink Doink, settle down. Can you imagine, like, you go to, like, a high school reunion, and you're like, oh, you see all the people you grew up around, and you're like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, you know, I'm working as a teacher now, I've got a family of kids, it's great, you know, I've got my house. What are you doing? Oh, I took all my life savings, and I invested it into
Dink Doink.
It's wild, man. And to even trust that you were going to get, I don't know but were people going to become millionaires off Dink Doink? But this is the thing. It sounds bad, but I struggle to have empathy for people that invested into these things.
Yeah.
I think that I can still be angry at Logan, but at the same time, there's like a fucked up part of me where it's like, I'm like, you can kind of see why they did it, because they know that it's so easy to manipulate people that honestly, I guess, are vulnerable, but also some people do just have more money than sense, and then they lose all of that money, and now they have no money, and they're screwed for the rest of their life. And I think that crypto, it's weird because it's shown as like this, it's presented as like a get-rich-quick scheme, rather than what it actually is, and that is gambling. Mm-hmm. It just is another new form of gambling, which has been kind of painted over to look like, it's this wonderful thing. And the same can be applied to some other things that Logan engages in, where he inflated the Pokemon card market. Pokemon cards are now gambling, and they always were, but absolutely far worse than they ever were. But again, because of some people like Logan Paul, where it was turned into, this is my new money-making scheme for the month, and the next one comes, and the next one comes.
Yep. Yeah, man. It's just, the whole thing, man, is just crazy. It just, I just struggle to understand it. I think, like I said, for me, I am a very simple person. I don't feel like I want too much. I just want to, feel like I have a roof over my head and I'm able to survive.
You're not promoting Dink Doink anytime soon?
No, I really, I don't know, man. I think like, obviously, I've never been to those highs, right? Like, I've never been that popular, was getting that much attention. So I can't say that I would never do something like that. I don't think I would, but like, I don't know what that amount.
Maybe we'll get a big offer in. Dink Doink. $20,000 each. Hey. Episode 3. I'll wear
the shirt and everything, man. All right.
we get Logan on. He could tell us about why Dink Doink's going to the moon. It's gonna be great.
Like, hey, I need a new down payment for a car. Mine just broke down. I don't know what to tell
you. Guys, I don't like. I know you may be mad at us, but we didn't speak for 20 minutes at the beginning about John's car for no reason.
Yeah, exactly. It's also like I can get some empathy,
Yeah, we got like the tears here. We played on the heartstrings, and now a bit of Dink Doink money.
Yep. It all works out.
Yeah. But going away from the crypto stuff, just for the last thing to talk about, obviously we briefly just mentioned it with Mr. Beast on Umperville, and he also went on Cold Ones' channel recently. Did you watch any of these videos?
I watched part of the Oompaville video. I really like Caleb Oompaville.
Yep.
But I can understand, like, that's a tough situation to be in because there are so, like, with Mr. Beast right now, there are so many different allegations. Like, there are literally multiple videos that are multiple hours long making all these allegations. And then on top of it, there's the CoffeeZilla stuff that is going on with the crypto things, which I think Caleb knows. He knows a little, like, he's someone that knows a lot more than I do, right? Than I would say I know about crypto. But it's like, I don't think anyone is going to know as much as like CoffeeZilla does. And so I definitely feel for him. It's a tough situation to be in. I think that basically no matter how much he pushed back, it wouldn't have been enough because like,
it never is.
Yeah. It's not like he's just going to be like, all right, come on my show. And then just immediately be like, grill. Cause like, he's just going to leave. But at the same time, I understand where people are coming from being like, I feel like it definitely would have been more productive if like Coffee was the person that was doing the interview, but I don't think that will ever happen.
Yeah. I don't think that'll happen for obvious reasons. I mean, the crypto stuff I think is personally the most damning thing with Mr. Beast. There's a lot of bad things going on there, especially with the fact that even just his association with Logan Paul and what he's done with crypto and has definitely ruined the lives of a lot of people out there. I think Mr. Beast's association with that needs to be criticized. But
absolutely, dude. I agree with that 100%. I think like the fact that he is putting his face next to his is only going to bring kids that don't know better to Logan Paul again. It's just like, I just don't get it. Why?
Yeah. Especially Mr. Beast, who is getting like sometimes 200 million views a video. I don't understand why Logan Paul. He is popular, but he's not getting more than 1 million views a video at this point. He's in WWE, but it's like, Mr. Beast, do you really like need that? You could promote all of these things and it would still do just as well, because I think there's a part of him that doesn't maybe understand. I mean, he must, but like, it almost feels like he doesn't understand how popular he is. He is not just a YouTuber. He is a mainstream celebrity. He is like almost like, it might sound a bit outrageous to say, but at the same time, it's not, because he's got 300 million subscribers. He's on the popularity level right now of people like The Rock. I genuinely,
even like more, I would say, for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, he's got 5% of the population subscribed to him.
Yeah,
the world population.
The U.S. I think is like 326 million people or something. I mean, it's probably grown since I saw that, but it's like he almost has the entire of the United States that is subscribed to him.
Yeah. I think in terms of English-speaking countries, Mr. Beast is probably known by near enough any person at this point who isn't above the age of maybe 40. I think most people who have access to the internet, use it regularly, know who Mr. Beast is. He is a celebrity. And the same does go for Logan, but Logan doesn't have that pull anymore. He's just known because of, all the bad things that he's done. And it's like, you don't need to be associated with that, so why do you choose to? It's very confusing. And with Oompaville's, I don't think Amberlynn necessarily did a bad job. I think he did the best that he could have, and I don't see
impossible situation.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see him. And Oompaville did. I know people have said that Oompaville didn't ask all the questions. I think he did ask a lot of questions. I just think the problem is that Oompaville isn't, from what I can see, a very confrontational person, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not either.
Same here.
If I was in his spot, I would have done a way worse job.
I would have cried probably. I don't think I would have been able to handle it. I would have been sweating. I would have been are you okay? Okay, I'm so sorry about asking this question, and and then started crying. Probably is what it would have looked like if I would have done it.
Because you're also thinking about, like, not only are you going to upset Mr. Beast and maybe it goes legal or something, but also, you've got two bees nests to appease here.
Oh, yeah.
The bees nest that hates Mr. Beast, and then the bees nest that wants to appease or, I guess, disprove Mr. Beast on every single bad thing that he may or may not have done. And it's like, that's a lot of pressure to deal with, and I think he did a very decent job. Yeah, the CoffeeZilla one would have been better, but realistically, that was never going to happen, and I'm happy with what we got. And honestly, I think some questions were definitely answered to a certain extent. I think a lot of the things that were said in Dogpack's original video, based on the fact that I've now watched Soggy's video, I think a lot of it has been disproven, but there still are some shady things to be answered for, such as Soggy didn't say in his video that he was paid by someone that works for Mr. Beast to come out and do the interviews that he did. Everything was paid for. That does look a little bit suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously the thing of Mr. Beast going around and sending the video around, that is a bit weird. And there is now an ongoing dispute about the fact that in 2021, Mr. Beast owned, I believe, 10% of Umperville's channel because he invested a certain amount of money into Umperville's channel through a certain agent. Yeah. And Umperville's come out now and basically said that he's no longer an investor in his channel. And personally, I have actually received offers of investment into my channel, and it comes out of the thing if they own a certain percentage and they can have a certain percentage of revenue over time. I don't think it's a big deal. I think it's like, it looks a bit bad for sure, but I think it was more a case of Mr. Beast started up an investment company which invested in content creators, and he thought that would be a good thing 4 years ago. I don't think it's playing into any factor of swaying Umperville here. It's something from a few years ago. I personally don't think it's that much of a big deal. But again, it's difficult because there are a lot of, that does look a bit weird things going on.
Yeah. All right. I have a question. Because I didn't watch the Soggy cereal video. I know I'm terrible. Because the thing that I was like, that hit me the most, that I was like, damn, that's messed up, was the guy that worked for Mr. Beast that was like doing that had that challenge where he couldn't, they wouldn't turn the lights off. That was like the big thing. Was that addressed? Yeah. Did that actually happen? Was that all fake or like?
I think it was more like played off of there was a light on and it wasn't like, I think it was obviously described as emotional torture. Again, I watched the video like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, fair
I
enough.
watched it, I'm not 100% too sure because obviously that did look bad, but I do remember there being a rebuttal to it. Not 100% on that.
I need to watch this video. I know. I need to watch it.
We'll give our weekly Mr. Beast update next week, and we'll let everyone know what we think on that because I'm sure there's going to be a million other things by next week too. But yeah, it's in a bit of a 50-50 situation right now where I think some things are true, some things aren't. It's a little bit confusing because it also comes back to what I spoke about last week of there are a lot of people that want to profiteer off the downfall. And there are now a lot of people out there who are unwilling to admit that maybe some of the things that they reported on aren't exactly true. And in the past, I remember when James Charles got exposed in Dramageddon, I made a video on it. And then I deleted one of my videos because it turned out that some of the things weren't true. And then in my follow-up videos, I then basically went against people like Tati and was like, there's been a lot of lies and stuff. And it very much seems that in this case, a lot of people that are speaking about Mr. Beast regularly don't want to just at least say that some things were wrong. And that is obviously bringing up a lot of criticism too. And it just kind of feels that there isn't gonna be a resolution here. I think it's more gonna be a case of it just kind of dies down and goes away.
Yeah. I think that's a really probably exactly what will happen. I think that's what's happened with there was something that happened recently that felt like there was gonna be this huge change, and then it kind of just disappeared. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember thinking to myself, maybe it was the Mr. Beast stuff. And it felt like there was going to be this huge thing, and then it kind of just like people kind of stopped talking about it. I might be misremembering, but I feel like that's right. It's probably exactly what will happen.
These things happen quite a lot on the internet. There's always like a massive talking point, and everyone just kind of forgets. Do you remember that thing of like net neutrality like 8 years ago or something? Mm-hmm. And everyone was like, "Dude, this is the end of the internet." And as I've not had any negative experiences to do with net neutrality. I don't even know what it is, to be honest with you. But I remember like that being a massive thing. There being changes in. Go on.
I remember the thing, but sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. There was like changes in like the YouTube terms of service every now and again, and people like it's the end of YouTube, but like it really people just move on. And even in some drama, like even with like Nick Ricardo losing weight, like that was massive. It felt like this was like this topic was never going to go away, and then one day everyone just forgot.
Yeah. The thing that I was thinking about was the Cody Ko stuff, which is a whole thing, but it's like. Yeah, like, I don't know. I haven't heard anyone talk about it, and I don't know how long.
My thing with the Cody Ko thing is, I think that's gone away because he's deliberately not. He's
just
anything.
he just didn't say anything.
And I think the reason for that is that guy never needed YouTube, because a lot of people don't know is Codico was rich before YouTube because he was a software developer. I don't know if you know this. He was a software developer that sold a big time app, made a lot of money off it. And I imagine he invested a lot of that money into a lot of different revenues. And this YouTube thing was just a bit of a side hustle that continued after Vine. So I think he just saw the situation was like, if I respond, it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, so
I've got my money. I've got my family. See you later. And obviously I disagree with that for obvious reasons, but that's why a lot of situations seem to go away. And I think with this Mr. Beast thing, now he's responded a bunch of times in video form. I really think that he's probably just going to think, okay, my Amazon show is now coming out.
Yeah.
I can get back to making content. He's disputed some of the things out there, and he's had his like legal analysis done into it by a top law firm, and that's going to be that. And I think over time, people will just forget, and maybe some people will think Mr. Beast is terrible. But honestly, I think the general audience don't really care. He still gets 100 million views a video. I'll be honest with you. I watched the last Mr. Beast video. I'm
Did you buy a shirt? Do you have a shirt in the...
Bro, I ran the corner. It's like a little corner shop, and they sell Feastables in there for like really overpriced, because like you can't really get it in this country from many places. And I bought all the flavors for like double the price. And I've got a little bone to pick with America. Your guys' chocolate is not good.
You don't like wax on your chocolate, brother?
Dude, I don't. What, like milk chocolate in like Cadbury's milk chocolate in the UK, it's so nice in comparison. It's like it actually feels like creamy. Whereas when I have like when I have Feastables, it just felt like really cheap chocolate. And like obviously that's what it is, but I've had Hershey's as well, and it all kind of feels the same. Whereas here, even our cheaper chocolate, it tastes pretty good. And I remember one of our main like chocolate distributors, I can't remember which one it was, but one of them got bought by an American company. They changed the recipe, and the chocolate started to taste bad. And I'm like, is like America and Britain's definition of chocolate just really different?
I don't know, man. I can't say. I know I've heard like, I think it was like something with Hershey's, the way that they made the chocolate and how they got their formula was like the milk was expired. And so it's like, that's why it tastes different. I don't know how true it is, but yeah, shout out to America. We love our wax on our chocolate. It's great. It makes it last longer.
Buy Feastables, everybody. This is sponsored by Feastables. Please play for my house deposit, Mr. Beast. I need one so badly.
Lunchly, I love it. It's so good. Even the mold is great. High protein.
It is. Yeah, exactly, man. But that does kind of bring us to the ending of all of our topics. Is there anything you really want to speak about, or you?
No, man. I think that I had a ton of fun today. This was. Yeah. I think that this was even better than the first episode. All right. No, but
absolutely.
No, I really enjoyed it. I think that you and your researcher did a fantastic job. Definitely made the episode go very smoothly. Dude, seriously, I'm enjoying the podcast. I'm so glad
so sick.
I'm so glad that we decided to do it, and I hope people are enjoying it. But
Yeah. I haven't even promoted it in a video yet, which because I haven't actually uploaded since we uploaded our last episode. But I'm uploading a video tomorrow, so I'm hoping we get some more people come over. I know YouTube doesn't really work how it used to work. I swear, like 5 years ago, if you shouted someone out, they would get so many subscribers. Yeah. Whereas now, it doesn't work like that. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just most part people don't really like subscribing anymore. They just like clicking.
I am fine with, I mean, please subscribe if you're here still. But like, I am fine with our views being higher than our subscribers. That's fine with me.
Oh yeah,
that is fine 100%. With me. That's a sign of a healthy channel for me. So that's cool.
At 10,000 viewers in the first episode, I was like hoping for like 4K,
dude. I mean, I remember you messaged me like, "Oh, dude, we hit 1,000 views. That's freaking great." And I was like, "Let's go, dude!" And now I think it's like over 12,000 or something like that. So
yeah, and that episode, like, that was just us finding our feet, and like we didn't have a specific topic that we spoke about. Whereas this, like, I feel like we've done like it's been like really good, and I think that as we get further, it will get better. Which is weird to say because it does kind of feel like we've been like, even as this is episode 2, it like the like chemistry and dynamic feels like we've been doing it for like a long time, sort of thing. Like there's no awkward pauses or anything like that, which is like, I guess it's weird because I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and I only listened to it because I liked the YouTubers, but I listened to it and I was thinking, it just didn't feel like there was like pauses in the conversation. It just felt a bit off. And I think like sometimes with people who, when they speak to each other, there's, you know, that when a podcast is going to work because it's constantly flowing, and you can have a really good friend and you have great laughs with them and great times, but doesn't necessarily mean that they're perfect for a podcast.
Yeah, no, but I think it's working well. And I mean, there's one thing the world needs, and it's white guys with a podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Dude,
and so
we need more.
We need more of these, bro.
we're gonna start. Mr. Beast invested in Umperville. We're gonna start a white guy podcast fund. Actually, that could get into a lot of controversy.
You don't actually have to be white, okay?
Yeah. I'll take that back.
No, but I'm already thinking of merch that we can release. I have tons of ideas. This is gonna be our
Gatorade clone.
Yeah, this is gonna be our lunchly, baby. Let's freaking go.
I even think we can maybe just like take some Ozempic pills, like put a sticker on a little bottle, start selling that to everybody. You know, Mr. Beast can join in. Obese the Beast and Mr. Beast.
It'll be called Over the Pond, Under the Weight. That'll be it, and then.
All right. Okay. On that note, fellas, please follow us on Spotify. I have not checked the Spotify stats because I'm incredibly lazy. Please
At least 2 people have watched it for sure.
We can hope. Please subscribe. Please like and comment your thoughts down below. Let us know if there's anything you want us to speak about next week. And thank you very much. And we'll see you in the next one, I guess.
Bye.
Bye.